Hello and welcome to our show Midwest Weekly, starring myself, Hairwiz, and am I by myself again for this episode? No, actually I'm not. Co-host CLT has returned, and we're gonna have ourselves an episode together for the first time in like 3 or 4 weeks. It's been a while, so we're here to talk about some fun action across the playoffs here, specifically the first round of playoffs, as well as last week's semifinals matchups. So we're gonna break down those, plus give our predictions here for the first loser bracket series, as well as the winners finals series. So all that and more on this episode. But first things first, as always, let's ask CLT how he's feeling today.
Doing pretty good, bro. I can't complain. Work's finally kind of starting to level off. Um and I can't complain. Though I will make a note here. I think everybody for the most part knows I work in the aviation industry, so hearts out to everybody in Louisville. What's going on there? I don't know if anybody's been tracking that, but feel free to Google that. But for someone who's part of the industry, it's a hard watch. But so hearts go out to them on that.
Yeah, and we always love that CLT. We like to, at least I do. I know you don't go in too much into it, but I'm glad you're bringing up something that means something to you. And if you want to talk more about it, you're welcome to. At any point in the episode, you can always give a little you know soliloquy or whatever you want to call it,
Um,
whatever monologuing, but
I,
yeah,
it, there's yeah, there's information coming out every day on it, so I don't want to taint that with any opinions. But feel free to Google it if you're not really in tune to that. Feel free. But yeah, it's pretty tragic what happened there.
well, indeed. So our hearts to them from here in the Midwest, and specifically the Midwest team here, myself, CLT, and the rest of the mod crew. But all right, with that all being said, let's get on to topic here. We have our first series from the round one, and this was single elimination. These first two series. But yeah, we had a banger 5 game series between Femboy Jellyfish and Vancouver Impact Challengers. Um, so I kind of expected that myself. I know we didn't get to do a perfect predictions show this first week because we didn't get to combine my predictions with CLTs and Nexuses, but um, I know they still predicted it. What did you guys predict? Do you remember what you and Nexus predicted for the Vancouver Femboy series? Was it a 5 game series or?
Mm, I think I predicted 3-1 Femboys. And Nexus, I think, also predicted Femboys, but I'm not 100% sure what
Okay.
he said. I'm trying to look it up real quick.
Yeah, we'll keep track of this for you guys to see which one of the hosts ends up being
He said
having the.
3-1 as well.
Okay, so
Sorry.
we won't dock any points for not getting that part right. But if you pick the wrong winner, right? If you're wrong on that, you're gonna get docked here. But yeah, so we all start off 1-0 with our predictions then, right? We pick Femboys. I just happen to pick the 3-2, which is still crazy to me. I know Ririka loves it, and we'll have him on in a little bit actually for predictions. So everybody, look in tune for that. But this first game here looks to be a fun one. Uh, what I'm noticing off the bat here is first off Vancouver getting the win in this game one, but two, uh, I'm noticing some crazy gameplay here out of Toros, which I kind of pretty much used to. What champion? Okay, that's Yunara. I was like, I forgot what champion this was because it's not showing in Battle5. So he went off on Yunara, 15, 4, and 10, 43k damage, 30% of the team's damage. I mean, absolutely a monster. He pretty much was set up to do so. He had a Galio mid as well as an Abessa top and a Jinzao jungle, so he's really expected to put up the damage, and the resources were being put into him. Uh, even though he still did phenomenally well. On the other side of things, Femboys kind of going with a similar brawling comp. Um, the Silas and the Galio is one of those matchups. I think it's like I want to say it's still Galio favorite just because he's anti mages, and I know regardless, and Silas is still a battle mage, right? But at the same point, there is some counterplay on the Silas's part. Obviously, stealing away Galio ulti is always good in any circumstance, and it pairs well with the J4 ult. So it's actually not too bad of a setup, and then you include that with like a nice Ziggs bomb. It could be very deadly for champions like Karma and Yunara and even Mbessa, who get trapped inside the J4 ult. Um, and then they kind of rounded out there with the Renekton and um, whatever this dang support is right now. Rel, my mind, my mind doesn't work. But yeah, so that's the comps here. Very, very brawly, team fight heavy comps on both sides. Is there anything that sticks out to you? Anything you don't like, or just kind of, uh, is something big that sticks out to you, CLT?
Um, for me, I kind of favor what Vancouver Challengers is doing. I think their comp is a little more cohesive, and Yunara really loves those like peely, like brawly type of champions because she supplements them really really well, and then having I'd say like an enchanter and a half if you're counting like Galio ults, really helps her out here. So it's not surprising if she got off the ground that she would pump out a lot of damage and be able to put in a lot of work. I love Marshall's build overall. It's really good to supplement playing through Yunara and Marco, Stunner, Pixel. They're also like a really big three-man catch squad. So I think Femboy's comp is, while they do have Jarvan, Rel, Ziggs, I don't think the Rel helps the Jarvan dive deep enough, and then they can blow up Jarvan quite heavily because he's never cutting through Karma shields, and then Churros is just whacking them after that. So
Yeah, I mean that definitely makes sense. Though the Rel, I mean, she does technically break shields. Uh, I mean, she can only do it once, right? And she's it's hard to do it to multiple members of the team if she does the R shield, right? So I can understand where you're coming from. Like it's not easy to play into. Maybe your J4, your Renekton. Well, no, Renekton breaks shields too, by the way. But maybe your J4 just builds extra Serpent's Fang, just to kind of help with the shields there. But even with that said, I honestly don't feel like thinking about the shields now. I don't think that's necessarily gonna be would be the problem. Now that I think about it, just considering the Renekton and the Rel both existing in the game. But again, it's not easy still. If you don't get on top with the Yunara, like you said, like one popper, she just gets to kind of hit everybody for free, with the
yeah,
exception of Ziggs, and they have stuff to dive in the Ziggs as well. So
yeah, they've got to throw so much to get through. Like Karma Zinzao ult is a decent, like, draw the line in the sand, peel ult, and then you have Galio on top of it. So it's they can never throw a big enough punch to get through Yanara, and Vancouver can do whatever they want. Plus, Ziggs is also like kind of passive in lane to a degree. I mean, if you draft a pokier support, then he can be pretty offensive and make life hell. But for the most part, I see Yunara Karma not ever really getting behind or pressured too much.
yeah, I mean, I think the Ziggs is always not easy to play into as an AD carry, but I do agree there's enough sustain in the bot side where it's not like unplayable.
Yeah.
So, but even with all that being said, it's you're kind of looking like what's the breaking point in a game like this? Because both teams, since they like the brawl, it can kind of go either way for a bit. But once that Yanara gets going, the game becomes a problem. Yanara starts off with 2 kills to start the game. Pretty quick first item as well. So that's kind of already like breaking the game. You don't want this late game scaling AD carry to be getting super fed and strong early. Um, Once that happens, you're gonna have an issue. The one item doesn't like mean she's completely overly accelerated either. It's just that is a pretty quick first item, I'd say.
Yeah.
But on the counterpoint, you got a Ziggs who like, I mean, he's hitting these turrets, breaking these turrets. Like, if you play around the Ziggs well, you can just win the map by not really overly team fighting. just getting small advantages and then out macroing and hitting turrets. And I want to see, did they get grubs? They did not. So that kind of hurts their team a bit on Femboy's side. Not that Ziggs needs grubs, but it helps burn the turrets even quicker to set up the satchel. So, but then the range is also an issue. So it's really weird because like you're not really winning this game through any sort of sieging on either side, more than likely though, right? Like you have to just fight these objectives, which sounds like was probably a pretty fun game one to watch.
Yeah, it's I'm kind of tuning into this, kind of just gliding through it. I mean, I'm seeing a 7-3 game at around 12 and a half. So it started off slow. There wasn't a first blood until like level 6, level 7 on the solo laners, but after that they brawled quite a bit. I just I'm seeing an early Ocean Drake for the side of Vancouver, which is really nice for them since all of the early game pressure is going to come out of the Femboy squad. Um,
Yeah,
the Infernal Drake, I mean, it is nice, but it's only really helping out Ziggs. I mean, it helps out everybody, don't get me wrong, but Ziggs is the one that can really like feel that single Fire Drake.
yeah,
Everybody else is just not bringing that much damage.
right. What I really am curious about and what I'd like to see is if nice soul kill by Noah is if they end up getting soul here on the side of Femboys because that was going to be a Chemtech soul and a Chemtech soul with all these melee champions, bro. That's pretty strong for them, honestly. I kind of scrolled to like the 24-minute mark, and how you talk about the soul kind of slowing it down, that definitely helps. Like the fact they're not soul fighting at the 22, 23-minute mark for the side of Vancouver is like a breath of fresh air for your squad because you know what you're trying to play for. And now Yunara has those three items. You guys can definitely contest the Drake Soul Drake without much issue. But we do have ourselves a T1 Baron starting it basically on spawn here for the side of Femboy Jellyfish, knowing that they need to end the game, right? They need Soul, they need Baron, they need to get this game over. So it looks like it might end up being a flip that just actually full on engage. And oh man, Charles just gets to free hit the entire team. So well played. And that just kind of flips the game from that point on. So it makes you wonder if maybe the Baron wasn't a bad call because you're trying to get them to fight, but you took so much Baron damage beforehand that maybe just pulling off the Baron might have been the better call and living to fight another day. But yeah, that Baron, once you lose that and give all those kills over, if the game's just gonna flip so hard in hard favor of Vancouver.
Yeah, Baron shredding some of the resistances doesn't help either with some boys trying to rush it here.
Yeah, and for
But
reference, they get the next Drake, which I'm sure they're strong enough to fight, as well as the next Baron as well at 33 minutes before they end the game. So the 25-26 minute fight at that Baron pretty much ended the game and allowed them to scale up to where they needed to be. And like you said too, the ocean Drake was huge. The one Drake saw might have saved the game for the side of Vancouver. And it's small details like this, and you saw it a lot. And I think even Worlds, right, with the grand finals, like there were situations where T1 or KT had a comp where like them just stealing away a Drake was all they needed to just stall the game long enough to get to their breakpoints, and they would just win, right? But then there were situations where if they didn't get that Drake and they weren't able to stall it, it kind of just broke it for the other side, and they get the free win because they're able to get the soul quickly, or at least push the enemy team to fight a soul fight when they don't want to. So drafts drafts
yeah,
are uh, drafts are a lot based around things like this. Um,
oh
and
wait, did he get it?
what's up? Get what?
Oh, Chiros there at the end. Um, they had a quadra kill, didn't get the penta.
Gotcha. I'm watching the last fight now. I think it's at what 35 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's a pretty baller fight. They threw everything they could at Chiros, and well, Galio shield plus Karma.
They threw the world at one man, but one man will not be stopped. He's
Uh,
unstoppable.
yeah, Yunara is just pretty goated. I think she's probably the best next to maybe like double enchanter Kog'Maw to like stand their ground and just not really be phased by a bunch of engages.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about Yanara is she's the slightly better Sivir into J4. Like J4 is really good into Sivir, but like you can't lock down Yanara first for you when she has her ult, right? She just jumps out of the
Yeah.
Cataclysm. And then she just rains fire. She's a mid-range ADC that does so much damage, similar to Sever when she scales. And that's why I argued for most of the split. Like these two are kind of like the two picks like you should be picking. I think now they've both kind of fallen off a bit, and you're kind of seeing that through the picks throughout playoffs. But this first game, the Inara ended up working out really well. It can be risky, but the comp that Femboy's drafted really just set up the Inara to have success. Because she doesn't have much to worry about when she scales up. And yeah, that fight was absolutely insane. Plus, a really nice GA buy, too.
Yeah. Yeah, the GA was clutch.
Oh, yeah, Angel Boy just refusing to give the Penta or what? Oh, what a guy. But I think they made the right call not trying to force the Penta there. You just take the game. This is playoffs. It's The Penta would be nice to have, but nothing more important than winning the game there. And the thing was, Mac almost was able to kill everybody there and get his own Penta. So one hit from killing the Inara, and then it would have been an interesting conversation if there were still turrets standing at least. But yeah, we'll jump into game two unless you have any more thoughts on game one.
No, no, I'm good with game one.
Perfect. Well, here in game two, much quicker game. Vancouver actually look like they're going to sneak away a quick win here. 28-minute win. Not that quick, but much quicker. About a 6-7 minute difference between game one and game two. Going ahead and drafting a top side Gwen, which is something we don't really see much of anymore. I think Marco is probably the one that plays it the most throughout this split, at least. And it went into Noah playing Yorick here. I highlight the matchup because they both kind of want to do a similar thing and like split push the map, but at the same point, the Gwen can also teamfight a bit. And I think when you're seeing stuff like the Sejuani and the Yone, it's Gwen's not too bad in that situation. Another interesting one, we're gonna see Malphite mid once again, but this time it's Pixel picking it into Ririka. We saw that from Zelda guy during the split regular season, and it didn't have the success. But it looks like here, he didn't like have a pop off game, but he kept the Yone from getting overly fed, and that was the whole point of the Malphite mid pick, right? So it seems like it did its job. Um, and then again, Choros just having a really nice game once again. This is why I've talked about this guy as an MVP candidate. Um, all split. It's stuff like this. Another great game from him. 27% of the team's damage, 5-1-3. Phenomenal game there. And Marshall kind of backing that up with a really nice little Zillion game, something we don't see too much unless it's from Calico. From Femboy side, we did already discuss a bit of their comp. Like you said, we had the Yorick. But the Sejuani plus the Yone combo is actually a really, really nice combo. The issue is there's not a lot for that combo to kill here. Um, like, you get on Caitlyn, you have the Chrono Shift, I believe it's called, with the Zillion ulti. Um, so you're trying to burn through the Caitlyn like that. Yeah, you can one-shot her, but then she comes back to life. The Varus and the Bard, though, I think that is not the easiest lane early on into Caitlyn Zillion. I feel like that's definitely Caitlyn Zillion favorite. Would I be wrong to think that?
Uh, I don't I don't know enough about bot lane to say for sure. Um, like I think Bard is pretty good into just about everything. That's why I think a lot of supports have gravitated towards him. But I kind of agree, like with kind of the previous take a little bit, where there's just not much for the Yone to kill, and that's where I think the Zillion value comes in at um, overall. But in lane, I think it's pretty even.
Yeah. I guess like I could see it. I just look at the Caitlyn range being pretty strong, and Zillion, like, the Zillion's slow on Bard. I mean, that's pretty obnoxious for Bard to play early. I would say, but he does have a bit of a ability to fight back into the pick. So I guess I could see your point a little bit. I just look at Caitlyn Bars. Like Caitlyn really makes the Bars have a hard time playing the game early on in the lane phase at least.
Mm. I think Caitlyn keeps up with Varus's poke until like first or second back if he goes lethality, which he did. Also, side note, judging from what I'm seeing, it looked like Higgins had some internet, so Jock came in as a sub on the Bard for this game too.
Yeah, and that's definitely important. Higgins played game one, and he had a lot of issues. We had a lot of conversation as a mod team during this whole fiasco. I remember, I believe, I want to say either Rusty or Havoc were coming in and kind of dealing with that issue. As I was in the middle of some tryouts actually at the time, funny
Uh,
enough.
yeah.
And then I know you were, I want to say you were bowling maybe or something. So it was definitely a weird situation. Everyone trying to handle, but we got it handled. I think we got the fair situation. I'm pretty sure they lost a ban on their side, Femboy's side, but I'm sure that affected team dynamic. You lose game one, and now you're game two with a sub. Not saying that Jock is not going to be able to come in and play for the team, but it's an emergency sub, and I'm not really familiar with this name, and I don't know if he really knows the guys, but nonetheless, kudos to him for coming in and helping out, even though they weren't able to get that win.
It's just it's it's funny. Higgins picked the Bard, and then he didn't have a chance to play it, so he's still fighting the Hook Champ moniker.
No, I think these last 2 weeks
Uh,
he's kind of showcased some other stuff, and I know he's gonna watch it and probably say stop it with the meme at this point. No, he I think and I talked to him a little bit on the side a bit, and we discussed it a little bit. I definitely do think from our perspective, at least my perspective, I should say, it was a little justified, at least for the reasoning I was giving. But at the same point, he also um, was only playing 3 game series, and he's able to showcase the pull a little more. And what I've seen from the last 2 weeks, I would say it's a little deeper, and um, it could use some improvement in some spots. But I think he's played well on the picks that he's been playing recently overall. So got to give credit where credit is due. But the man is definitely very good at Blitzcrank and Thresh. So and Nautilus, there's and Pike and all those things. He's got a knack for hooking things. So
yeah.
also top laners, I watched in game one, Noah get a double kill. Now I'm watching here in game two, First Blood going over to the Gwen that's getting ganked. These two top laners, they got mad skills, man. Like they don't care if they're getting ganked. They're gonna fight it out, and they're just gonna win. They are just
These
gonna
these
win.
are these are like the type of top laners that I always love watching, but I really hate playing against because they just walk at you with their chest out and they're like, "I'm just gonna beat your ass," and they don't back down from anything. So,
Yeah.
I
What
mean,
what
we've
am
seen
what am I
Noah in the
scared of?
chat. Yeah, exactly. They are very confident top laners for sure.
Yeah, and I think Noah he's a guy that likes he's got a lot to say and he's got a big ego as he's kind of stated in the chat, and I understand, I get it. Some people they might not be feeling the vibe, but I don't think this guy is coming from a place of any true hate or anything like that. So for anybody that's ever talking to him when he's messing around in the chat, that's just he's trying to get in your head. So don't let him get in your head. And if he is, well, that's what he's doing, and it's working for him, right? It's an advantage for him. Um, but yeah, I know that's just not some people's style, but he's definitely a good player. That's just like without question. What I've seen of this guy, he's performed. Every time I've watched him this split, and it's not like what 3 times I want to say, like 3 different weeks he's filled in. So
Yeah.
he's looked.
One time was jungle.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, one jungle. Yeah, he's definitely
Mm.
performed. He's earned the right, and he played last split. He was what was his name? Kyle Kittenhouse or whatever it was.
Oh, was
So
that Kyle?
yeah,
Okay,
that
I
was
didn't
him.
know that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
he's definitely
that
been
makes
around.
sense now.
He's been around the block.
Yeah, yeah. He had a very, very good performance, but yeah, he ain't afraid to talk the talk.
Yeah,
So I can respect that. I know a bot lane that does that.
yeah. And so far he's
So
walked the walk. We'll see if it continues. We'll see if the trend continues, right? And we'll get to that later. But yeah, we'll see if it continues. With that said, kind of scrolling through this game, what is something you would be looking for the side of Femboys to kind of like pull a game out like this? Because I think their comp is set up for not I don't want to say failure from the get go by their draft, but it is put in a situation where it's not hard to win. And I would even argue that maybe having your Varus go AP, which is not like the norm, might not have been a bad idea, or at least on hit.
I'm with that. I definitely think Varus going a little more mixed damage profile would have helped, but I mean, it's just a hard draft for Femboys to play out. Every time I see York in the game in a really good like York position, he then just gets bullied around early and never can like he never gets rolling downhill. It feels like it's always an uphill battle to recover back into the game, or he just never gets rolling to begin with.
Yeah.
So I don't I just don't really like what I'm seeing out of York as a champion. I think there's a lot of champions that do his job better, but also can team fight.
Yeah, there's that quality, but I also think for me, it's the fact that you're playing a full AD comp into Malphite Trundle, and it's not easy. Plus, there's a zillion. If you somehow get them low and haven't popped the Caitlyn who's like free firing on you, and she doesn't need that ult, then like, bro, how do you win? You know. Um,
Hmm.
so that's my thing. That's really what I'm looking at from it. And if you are playing the Yorick, you honestly wish the Yorick was playing into Malphite, because then, yeah, he might not kill Malphite, but Malphite can't kill him, and he can't match the split, right? Where it's here, it's Gwen. Like I think Vancouver drafted extremely well to put themselves in a great spot, and I am generally curious where this draft comes up from the side of Femboys, because it's probably one of their weaker drafts for sure. Like I think even if Higgins plays, to be honest, they still might just end up losing this game. It's just hard. It's hard to play. It's similar to the previous draft, but at least the previous draft, like, it wasn't impossible to play. They had tools, and they were even in a good spot, right? They just kind of threw the game at the Baron. This one is like, what do you win? Maybe early game, and then after like 15 minutes, it's just GG. Like, that's just my Malphite's got an item, and you can't kill him. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's just nothing. Even if you 1-3-1 it, Malphite's going to be able to hold on against Yone. Though in prolonged fights, Yone does end up winning that. But then even if you swap it up, you got Malphite versus York, and if they're on even playing field, yeah, Malphite gets kind of annoyed in the split, but it's just I don't know what advantage you created in this draft. I could argue you just created none. I will say double melee solo laners with Sejuani is nice, but I felt like maybe the first game they left the Silas up, knowing Ririka is, as I've turned it before, like one of the Silas gods of the server. But then that's off the playing field, do the fearless, and now you're kind of stuck with Yone in
yeah,
the melee side of it.
but see,
So
the thing about Sedge, and Rusty's been a big proponent of this, and I agree and don't agree with him when he said this before. You don't have to play Sejuani with melee champions. This is 100% true, but I think it's troll not to. But you don't need to have five in the game with Sejuani to be playable. You could literally just have a top laner that's melee, and maybe a support that's melee. Like, that's perfectly fine. Um, so if you wanted to scrap the Yone pick, and we could go back and look at the draft and see where things were picked to get a better understanding of how this ended up where they're at. But if you wanted to still play Sejuani and just say we could play something else with it mid, there are other options. Like, I think Syndra plus Sejuani isn't that bad. I think Sejuani plus Victor isn't that bad. Just giving two mages out there, I think that's playable. They like to have decent front line in front of them. Uh, the CC layering with Sejuani ult can go both ways on top of uh, the W from Victor. Like, you alt with Sedge and then you W with Victor. Like, it's a good CC chain. Obviously, Scatter the Weak plus Sejuani ult, it sets it up nicely. Um, so there's those points. With that said, I just kind of watched the end of the game here, and um, it was a very low kill game. But basically, it just kind of ended off picking off a Rika bot side, and then they kind of just walked it down. York was trying to play for the split, but they had Baron buff, and they just went into the base. no fear, and they have the Trundle, right? They're gonna take base so quick with a Baron. So, and then of course, Yorick trying to play into a Gwen. It's not the easiest thing for him to play into. He can win it with good kiting, but he gets murdered up there, and now you're trying to play as three into a really big front line plus a Caitlyn. So
Yeah, yeah. Looking at this, like now, I'm getting more of a picture of the end of the game. I've this is 2 games in a row where I've seen Ririka be very farmed from side lane advantages, and Pixel just is playing mid laners that really don't care about the farm. He's playing for the team. Is the big thing that stands out for me. You've got the Galio, you've got the
yep,
Malphite now, so I think that's probably where Vancouver created a lot of advantages, even though in this game they were down dragons.
yeah, and I think again that's really good by the side of Femboys. Both games in a row they were able, and they were on red side for both games. They were able to get uh, the Drake advantage. They were up 3 Drakes to 1 and had a winning position in theory. I don't think the Chemtech Drake, by the way, in that game is winning you the game. Maybe if you get Soul at like 20 minutes or some crazy early amount of time, maybe that comp can pull it out. But obviously, game one, I think Chemtech does get them over the hump. This one, I do not see them winning unless they get a humongous lead within the first 15, and they just were not able to do that because once these certain champions reset, Malphite gets half an item, you're already having a hard time killing him as Yone. And bot lane, once they kind of get rolling, if they do, it's going to be hard. To me, it still will be hard for Bard to get anything meaningful advantage wise in the bot lane. Top lane is what top lane is. I think Gwen always should pretty much beat Yorick unless Yorick kites it well. So I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure um, one of my buddies who plays a lot of Yorick has told me this. So,
Yeah,
uh, but yeah. All that being said, we'll jump into game three. But that game two was a much slower game, much slower paced game. Game three
yeah.
though, we have Femboys, and this is where it turns around for Femboys, and this is what was exciting about uh, this first series is something we have not. I don't think we've ever seen in a 5 game series in the Midwest. I could be wrong, but nothing that I remember in my time as a caster, doing this show, or playing in this league is a reverse sweep in a 5 game series. This might be the first one. So it starts here. This is where the comeback starts. Higgins gets back in there. He's on the Blitzcrank, baby. We're playing the Hook Champs. Though it's not a crazy good Blitz game if you really look at the stats. Um, but obviously, there's part of the reason why you're playing into a Sivir, so it's hard to get hard advantage at bot side. Um, but yeah, I mean, Kasante, really nice tank to kind of be in front for the team. And then you have your damage dealers, Pantheon, Aurora, plus Kaisa. I think that's a really, really nice 3 champions. They pair really well together. Your goal is to get onto the back line, kill the Sivir, kill the Talia, right? You want to ignore the Immobile and Jax as much as you can until you have to focus them. And that's what this comp allows them to do. And it helps dodging the CC, right? Getting away from the Immobile and Jax. If somebody can get on the back line, can get Kaisa back there. And I think Angel Boy is a pretty good Kaisa player, probably one of the better ones we have in this league. So you kind of set him up there with that success. And we obviously know Ririka and Aurora. Him and Zemma are probably the 2 Aurora players that come to my mind, off just the direct top of my head, that play this champion at a very, very high level. So
Agreed.
I'm trying to think who else. I know I've seen some other ones. It might have been a top laner that I remember popping off on Aurora as well. But yeah,
Uh, Dippy comes to mind as far as top lane Auroras. But yeah, I'm agreeing with the 2 mids for sure.
yeah, yeah. I don't even think Good Boy plays much Aurora, to be honest. I think this
Not that
is,
we've seen.
yeah, I think this is kind of distinctively these 2 guys. So, but yeah, with that said, Marika's having, a nice playoffs, and part of that reason he gets champions like these, he's going to start popping off. On the other side, Vancouver kind of going, as we discussed, with the Mumu and Jax. I think the comp they set up, because they have Maokai support, actually doesn't look too bad if you're able to get to objectives first and set up the objectives well, but you always have to worry about these flanking angles. Like, honestly, you know what this comp reminds me of, this Femboys comp? Kind of reminds me a little bit of like a T1 comp. Just maybe swap the Blitzcrank out with something else, like maybe a Poppy or I don't know, a Bard even, right? Funny enough, because it feels like like being able to flank because T1 loves doing that, and this comp would allow them to do it. And though Faker isn't like a crazy Aurora player, he has played it. So I'm just bringing it up for that point. I just see that parallel there, and I think it's very interesting um, on that standpoint. What do you like from both these comps, if anything in particular?
Um, I think the one thing that stands out to me is you finally got like a mage v mage matchup in the mid, which is what I could see Vancouver struggling with. Ririka, you know, it has been putting in a lot of work on the mages. Speaking to him personally, and then watching a lot of these games, we've seen him kind of shy away or open up the door on the mage play a little bit. He's still a very talented melee mid specialist. We've seen obviously the Silas, the Yone, Akali also comes to mind, but the fact that now Pixel has to go mage v mage against Ririka, I'd be curious to see how this game goes. Overall, looking at the team versus team draft, uh, I think it's I think both sides got a lot of what they want. I do agree that the Femboys draft looks very Korean, to say the least. Um, but this is also a lot of comfort champions. Higgins on Blitz, Kaisa, Aurora, Terrace has played quite a bit of the Pantheon last split and this split. So, um, yeah, I like Femboys' draft overall. When you're down 2-0, everybody's kind of voted for you. You're kind of the agreed favorites, and you're down 2-0. You got to play the comfort. You got to play a comp that you're comfortable playing.
Yeah, and you're playing through turmoil. That's the other thing. You had the sub come in, Higgins getting back in from having his issues with
Hmm.
his internet. it's kind of truly cinema, man. It's truly that movie script right here, which makes it more exciting. So I'm sure everybody watching this series that day was just like kind of going, oh my god, especially as the series progressed. But this is just one game, right? I mean, at this point, Vancouver's up 2-0. Even if they drop this game, you got to be still feeling like, okay, Vancouver can get it done, right? They've already beat them pretty decisively twice, right? But at the same point, um, I also think Pixel was kind of getting down to that lesser champ pool, and I kind of discussed this about Pixel in the regular season. Was just like, I know his pool wasn't as deep, and he plays a lot of those set up the team champs. Well, now he's doing that, but he's on something more susceptible to getting killed very easily if he mispositions. And it just gets worse and worse from there, right? If you can't pick those Gallios, Malphites, maybe just slam an Orn mid or something. Um, Kind of that Doinby style was what Pixel was playing and playing it pretty well, I think. But when he kind of comes off that, it's a little harder for him, and that's where Ririka really gets the punish. And you're seeing that early on in this game, kind of Ririka really putting in the work and not allowing Pixel to get much farm and play the lane and get advantages, which I think Talia needs.
Ooh, that was a nice play there for the first blood
Oh
out
yeah,
of Higgins. Well, especially once he seen the spell shield come down, he was like, "Okay, it's time to eat."
yeah. No, that was well done. It was exactly how you got to play that there, especially because it gets you the Sivir closer to your Pantheon there. How he used the E then flashback. It was really well set up. So
Yeah. Ooh, and then Ririka gets one here. Yeah, that's kind of what I was concerned with. You did note, as I'm skimming through this game, I'm seeing it as well, where definitely you started to see Ririka put his stamp on this game. But the bot lane as well here. This is definitely, like I said, oh man, 3-0 at 5.5.
yeah, but Vancouver's still fighting back. They actually end up with a bit of a gold lead, and they're getting the Drakes. It's funny because Red Side getting the advantage on Drakes is not surprising because they have easy access. But it's interesting that specifically in the series, you're seeing it happen the most. Like I wouldn't be surprised we're one game, but 3 out of 3 games so far, and it's already red side Drake advantage, 2 Drakes to nothing or 2 Drakes to one, pretty consistently. Um, so they were definitely fighting back. Ririka even started to struggle there for a bit. He was 1-3 here at about 11 and a half minutes. Made a couple mistakes, got a little overzealous. Didn't really completely throw his lead, but definitely let the Talia back in. I mean, she even had a shutdown of about 100 gold here at that 12-minute mark. So he definitely was allowing the game to be a little more playable, getting a little more risque. And it's funny because we're gonna get to another Aurora game of his in the next round, but it seems like maybe he gets a little excited sometimes. On the champion, he's certainly good at.
Yeah. Uh, Not surprising. Ririka gets pretty hyped, and I think, as most of us would call it, he limit tests quite a bit sometimes. But you know, he's still very proficient at a lot of these. I think, yeah, looking at some of these, it might have just gotten a little hype. But see, at the 10 minutes, I'm a touch behind you. Already up 20 CS, but yeah, got punished there.
Yeah,
So
and I think you really the thing that sticks out to me the most is you certainly want to unlock your server, but I think Jack's unlock this game would be really really strong for the side of Vancouver, and he didn't really get much focus up there in the early part of the game, so he kind of was a bit behind from the Casante, which is something I don't think you really want. Like you not want the Casante to be ahead of the Jacks, because it just delays Jax becoming an absolute monster into this comp here. So just something else to note. But I still think the server being strong is certainly good for your game.
I I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Jax either. I just don't think he gets online quick enough into like how quickly some of these tanks can get online and affect the game, especially like Asante. So I mean, I see the theory behind it, but eh, I just feel like if you're Vancouver Impact, you have a really talented top laner that's been brawling back and forth. I don't know if putting him on scaling um, into someone like Noah, who's going to be able to punish that early game because of how much they love to fight, is the greatest plan.
Yeah.
And it's also double scaling because you have Jax with Sivir. I would argue I think Sivir gets online even quicker than Jax, which is kind of crazy. So
Yeah, that's a fair point. With that said, they start this Otacon here at 25 minutes on the side of Femboys, and they're able to just pretty much do it for free. Yeah, there's a bit of a gold lead for them. It's about a 1K, but I think the fact that they're able to do that without contest is pretty wild from Vancouver. Like, Amumu here plus Talia should have so much value with the shred there from Otacon, right? The magic damage shred. So I'm really, really surprised that they didn't at least like consider just saying, you know what, we'll face check even if you get Blitzcrank hooked. If it's our Maokai or if it's our Amumu, it's fine. Those are our team fighting tools, anyways, right? They want to be in there. So I'm really surprised that they kind of just did not consider checking or considering trying to contest, which is gonna balloon the game too, as well.
yeah, I kind of agree, though I just don't. I mean, Amumu's just not going to be the tankiest. I feel like he has a hard time walking into 3-item Kaisa, 2-item Aurora. That it just you kind of itemize yourself into a rough spot there. Maokai's also went redemption first, so he's not tanky. It's just a really tough comp when you can't really walk into what Femboys is showing. So
Yeah.
that does net them the free Otacon there.
So is this just a blue side series? Like, there's no way because we had a series that was just a red side series. Is this just a blue side series? Blue side's just gonna keep winning, man. It's gotta be a meme. Because obviously at this
Mm.
point we know blue side's gonna win. I'm thinking of the next two games. Please tell me it's not blue side all the way. It's just a femboys thing, I guess.
That would be kind of crazy.
Yeah. And we see femboys. They're able to get the Drakes back from them in three oceans, man. That's very very strong for any team comp in my opinion. Um, before you even get to this whole point. Um, but yeah, they're gonna have to try to find a way to contest here, and I think again we kind of talked about what the comp wanted to do on Femboy side at the beginning of the discussion. I think it becomes very hard when you're contesting a Baron uh, as as this side of the comp. Um, because they really want to front to back more, and if and flanking is not something you want to deal with, right? So, and they just kind of played it that way. They looked for the flanks. They looked for the aggressive plays. What is with War and Face Check popping up on stream? I remember him
Mm.
saying something about this. Did it again. It's like the second or third time in this series I'm seeing it.
Mm.
Make jokes on him later. But yeah, they're able to push them out, and so now they're able to hit Baron here at the 30-minute mark. So you're kind of feeling like you had a contest on the side of Vancouver, and I don't know if you really have to per se. Silver Wave Clear is pretty decent, but obviously it doesn't feel good because Soul is going to be a thing, and they're going to have the first setup and move to it.
Yeah, Sivir plus Talia. Like Talia's got wave clear. It doesn't scale well, but it's still very useful. Um,
Yeah, and sadly, once they get the Baron, they're able to kill the Amumu because they try to make a play, and then it's just what can you do from there? Noah able to get in there and kind of mess with them a bit. I know this kind of game ends soon. I'm trying to see what the ending is. Maybe they just walk at them. That's probably what they do, right? Just walk at them with Baron Buff. We're not afraid. But yeah,
yeah, I'm looking at the sequence here. 31 minutes.
yeah, I figured. I'm kind of letting it play out a little bit for the everybody watching, so they can kind of see what happens.
Ooh.
Oh man, Noah just walks at three of them. He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
And they're doing this with without Kaisa ult at the beginning, right? So and once your big engage tools are down, your Jax is just trying to split. Oh my god! Angel Boy going in, flying in like that is crazy. And then Ririka just saying, "I got you," taking down both the carries. That's pretty much how your game ends. Yeah, I mean that's just a beautifully done and well executed comp there by Femboys, knowing that they want to play flanks and play two different sides of the fight. So
Yeah. Yeah, Saris was down. Didn't use Zonya's there from Pixel in that last fight. Yeah. And Noah's just using his Jax as a punching bag. Go get a bigger light post.
yeah, go get a bigger light post. He said, crazy. I think Cassante is still busted even after all the nerfs.
He is one of the rare champions that just scales with mastery and
Yeah,
skill.
just
So
gets more broken as time goes on.
yeah,
Well, with that said, let's get into Game 4. Femboys here versus Vancouver Impact Challengers Game 4, man. How hype can it get, right? So, Game 4 here, Ririka pulling out the LeBlanc. That's the first thing. And I remember watching a little bit of this game. He was really doing some work on this LeBlanc. Probably, specifically, this would be the Ririka show if I had one out of the series so far. 32% of the team's damage, almost 40k damage. With this champion, seems pretty absurd. Higgins pulling out the Vel'Koz support. He
okay,
he
screw
yeah he
screw the grabs.
he got punished a lot this game. I do remember because I watched a little bit of this game. They were focusing him heavily early on, landing the Ash arrows on him. Setting up with or going in with Lissandra, kind of locking him down. So it was not an easy Vel'Koz game. He just wanted to play kind of that that poke comp to set up the LeBlanc to finish people with the so Vel'Koz quirky kind of poke. It's not as prevalent as some of the other 80 carries that would probably want to play with the Vel'Koz, but his ult does the trick. Quirky's ult does do the trick. And then Turris and Noah rounding this out with a Gnar plus a Skarner, top side of the map. Skarner's he's fine here as a game 4 pick. Definitely not as strong as he used to be. But on the other side, the thing that intrigues me the most is pulling out Lilia here for Vancouver. The already kind of got interesting with the Amumu. We don't see often, but Lilia feels kind of I don't I don't know. She doesn't really feel like she's in a great spot. Even in game 4, game 5, I don't think I'd be leaning Lilia most of the time. It can surprise opponents, but a lot of these tankier, bruisier champions really don't care about Lilia right now, since she's not very strong. The best thing to me about Vancouver's comp, besides just Ashe as a champion, to me is probably the set. I think Set really likes playing into something like Skarner. A lot of HP, could get really nice ults off of that. But he should struggle in lane against the Gnar as the game progresses. So, but both top laners, kind of similar scores, similar stats, just kind of smacking each other. But I do remember Noah kind of popping off a bit on the Snar, especially when he was in Mininar.
Yeah, I don't exactly know how that lane or that matchup goes. I would suspect kind of what you alluded to, where Gnar can kind of play the spacing game and bully around set. I do, in general, I really do like the set here. It is a form of point and click CC for the LeBlanc if she does dive in, but also like this Skarner with a million HP is going to come after you. So pelting him back into his own team is useful. It's just the Femboys team has a truckload of mobility, so it's going to be really hard for Lilia to get on. I think Lilia is underrated, but you have to finesse when to pick her, because her bad matchups comp wise can feel really bad. But if you're playing her against a lot of immobile stuff, like as an Anivia or an ASOL player, I really don't like Lilia because she just runs at you at Mach, infinity, and just puts you to sleep while she's dodging everything. But
Sometimes she puts her own team to sleep too. So,
yeah, yeah, we can ask TSM about that one.
um, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying about Lilia, but I just still don't love the pick, and I still think it's in that good of a spot. I think you have like a nice counter matchup maybe, but there's nothing really that comes to mind in the current meta where I go, this is the Lilia game. Because you got to consider other thing that
Yeah.
the champions you're picking in like the 4 or 5 spot as a jungler right now includes something like Mundo, right? Not a lot of junglers play it in this league. But like if it exists and you're feeling comfortable playing it, owner just showed you just gotta just slam it. Game 5 doesn't matter. You can just read the manual before the game and you could win. So I mean, uh, I do think Lily is just not a champion that should have much success at this current state. And on top of that, you're playing with like Lissandra mid, which I think that's just not the best pairing in my opinion.
That I do agree with.
So to me, you know what? If you're gonna play Lissandra game 2 if you're femboys. Um, like in their comp, that's where they would have needed like something like that. And then here in this one, this is where like Yone would work as a pick for Vancouver. Like so. There's other things you can pull out besides Yone. I mean, like there's other AD mids. I mean, I wouldn't even be against something like a Jace. I think Jace has decent fighting power into LeBlanc. Even it's not that bad. But one I love and I've played for years. If you're good enough on the champ, is Zed into LeBlanc. You lose the early lane. It's just natural. But once you get to level 4, you can start heavily trading into her, and her W is just as telegraphed as yours, realistically. But there's skill expression in the matchup. I don't know if Pixel would be able to play something like that. I have no idea, right? I don't know how deep that would go, and we've already discussed we haven't seen anything crazy from Pixel. This is probably where it would get harder for him to play the game. But even so, there's just better things. Is the point I'm trying to make. But
Yeah,
the
uh,
the the,
I
the
I
early
agree.
game CLT, the early game is just Ririka getting 2 early kills. That's the big thing. Nice solo kill, then a roam up top, and once you get this LeBlanc rolling, I mean, Lissandra in theory is good in LeBlanc because you can lock her down with your all. It's point and
It's
click.
not.
Yeah, that's why I said in theory, right? It's a theory. It's a theory craft right here. But that's all it's good for. You're not winning the lane, you know. So and she can buffer her W to go back. Oh.
Yeah, I
So
I mean, Lissandra's just not. She's always been like a legacy counter to LeBlanc, but it's now more thematically than power level compared to, the meta of like Lissandra, LeBlanc, Aurelia back in, was it 2018, 2019, where people got reminded Lissandra was a champion. But I don't, I don't know what you pick here. I don't know Pixel's pool, and I think the one thing that hindered Vancouver from really getting that push to the end is the amount of lineup changes they made. I don't know if people had enough time to practice, their game 4, game 5 champions. Um, so I mean, Lysandra is still a decent answer to LeBlanc, but you got to play. You're on pins and needles for this early game, and Ririka showed us why.
Yeah, and once again, Vancouver does fight back. If you go look at the Grubs fight there at about 8 minutes, you see Vancouver getting the advantage, and they even get all three Grubs. Oh, no, I'm sorry, they only get two. Yep, but they still get the advantage there. Two Grubs plus multiple kills, kind of shows you the power of the set there as well. There for Marco. But yeah, like you said, like you don't get to practice these champions, and even though some people might be comfortable on some of their picks, I definitely think that this wasn't the most comfortable champ for Pixel here. Um, I think Marshall plus Choros, they've played stuff like this before, so they're in a fine spot. I don't know how comfortable Stunner is on something like Lilia, but off that fight, you get 2 kills. You're not in a bad spot now as a Lilia. Like you could play the game for a bit at least. Eventually, in my opinion, you get outscaled into stuff like Skarner. Like again, I get that you do damage, and he really doesn't technically, but he's gonna tank all your damage, bro. And he's just
Mm-hmm.
gonna get on your face eventually. I've played enough of that matchup. Like, eventually, you're getting your butt beat by this Carter. So, spacing be damned. It doesn't work forever.
Yeah, kind of skimming through the rest of this game here. Oh, looks like Vancouver got to a touch of a lead. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no,
That's the
they
wrong
had a bit of a
thing.
lead. Like if you get to the 14 minutes, it's still there, and the game is not very fast paced. I mean, 6 kills to 2 at 14 minutes. So we're not in a crazy trajectory at that moment. I'm trying to remember. There was like a fight, and maybe it's this fight actually. It's there's a fight that kind of starts to teeter a bit for Femboys, and it's really, if I remember correctly, it's off the back of this LeBlanc. Just being able to get like picks off on Ash and Melio, like she was just one shotting them if they looked at her. It definitely wasn't this fight. There's nothing happening here.
Oh,
All right, here we go. We have an Otacon here at 20. Let's see what happens here, because I see LeBlanc dead when the Otacon's getting hit. So I'm gonna scroll back a bit. But I mean, it's a really tight game, dude. Vancouver and Femboys, they're very close. These two teams. Something that I definitely. That's why I picked the 3-2 for the series. I You could just tell because Femboys, as strong as they are, like their weak points, or at least where they could be matched, we're in the correct spots overall, except the mid lane. But you could supplement that a little bit, and I think that game 1 and 2 showed you how they were able to supplement that. It just through the series, can you continue to keep it in your advantage for Vancouver? Oh, it's just an arrow. How lovely. And so this Asher gets to pick on the Vel'Koz, which is what I was talking about. That ability to just kill the Vel'Koz was what was happening. The theme of this game 4. Kill Vel'Koz. We look for objective. Oh, a nice W from Pixel into his ulti, and see that's how you're able to shut down LeBlanc. If you're able to
yeah.
make her the focus without issue, you don't have to worry about anything. Man, that's really really well played there. It's on LeBlanc to really outplay that at that point. It's not easy to do because
Yeah.
you're Wing into where Lysandra already is, so you're basically in her you're Wing into melee range. There's no way you're missing a W for Pixel, right? So that's what
Mhm.
acquires them the ability to fight this Otacon.
It's it's interesting on like how the matchup scales because once you start getting points in W as Lysandra, your snares long enough that they can't buffer the blink back into like you can ult her, but your ult animation's so long that she can buffer the blink back. But after a few extra points in W, it ends up being like just a total CC chain.
Yeah, but Noah came in like a hero absolutely
Oh yeah.
turn the fight. They were kind of doing two separate things there on the side of Vancouver. Might have cost them the outcon. Honestly, I feel like they should just be able to get it there. Maybe all five members just hit, but it does end up costing them, and that is going to swing the game at that point, right?
Oh, the gnar on Ash onto the like pixel wall that Otacon creates there was sick at the beginning of or like at the beginning of the turn there for Noah.
Yeah, it was really well played. So yeah, they're able to get the outcon. They get multiple kills. They even get the kill on the set on the back end because he TP's in to try to salvage the play. Um, and from there, they're just able to choose, to push and push. Two Drakes to two Drakes there as well. So the game is not at any point where you could kind of push it for an Elder on the side of Vancouver, which I really think Vancouver would want an Elder game. They'd want this game to get to Elder because eventually the LeBlanc kind of gets outscaled, like her damage does. Like she'll still be strong and she still pop people, but it shouldn't be as effective once this Milio's got everything he needs to keep his team alive. And there's some defensive items coming out of Ash possibly. So, but the game is just not able to get there. We get to Baron here at 29 minutes. They're gonna get some picks here, and it's off of them, kind of forcing the Baron because they killed both the Set and the Sandra. So now the jungler's forced to try to fight, and it's so difficult. But you can see Churros gliding into play, man. It's so sad because you gotta imagine if the Set plus the Lissandra is there to allow the Ashe to continue to do the DPS. It's not easy for Red Side Comp, I think. At least at this kind of juncture in the game, as they've kind of scaled up a bit. I mean, Ashe was nearly on 3 items, really close to IE when that fight took place. And you gotta imagine if he had IE, he might even kill Ririka there with a crit. So yeah,
this game got entertaining.
yeah, it's back and forth, absolute barn burner. Everybody keeps trying to hit Baron. Everybody keeps trying to turn and hit Baron, but it's just so difficult to acquire it. And then the next fight, the next Baron, which is 31 minutes, where Vancouver's trying to hit. Ririka comes in like Superman, gets himself a nice little triple kill, and that pretty much sets up the game from there. And like, I don't think you're able to come back from that at that point. You're down 5K, all the tempo. Femboys gets Baron buff. And not too quickly after that, they're able to just walk into the base and end the game. So it is a bit of a banger fight to end. So I'll try to show that. Here we go. I'll show you guys that, and then we'll move on to Game 5. Crazy stuff to know. It's already been an hour for the episode. We know what we're in for, guys. We're in for a long one. So I hope you guys are ready to watch some fun, some fun games and us talking for forever, because that's what this is
I
gonna
haven't I haven't talked that much this episode yet.
be. Yes, I'll let CLT do the next series. I'll let him talk all about
Huh?
it. Yeah, you got
Okay.
it. You got the next one. All right, so let's jump into the final game, Game 5 here. Femboy here to complete the 3-0 reverse sweep. And the crazy part is the Wukong got all the way to Game 5, man. It was banned a lot, makes sense. But yeah, I think Wukong, if Wukong is available and you could take it, I think there's a high chance you could win a series just by having that available to you. So yeah, Terrace gets the Wukong. Not a crazy game or anything, but obviously able to utilize the kit. Ririka getting his Ari here in Game 5, which is pretty crazy. Though, again, I don't think Ari's in a great spot. I do think Game 5 is fine. Game 5 is certainly
Yeah.
fine for the champion. It's into Ori. It's pretty much what I think it's Ori favored early. They kind of go back and forth in the matchup. Ori kind of has that hard team fight presence, but Ririka has such a high pick, right? The shocking one, and I remember this going, what is happening when I was watching this game a bit, was the Shaco support pick. Now, Marshall didn't have a horrible game or anything. He even did a decent amount of damage. He out damaged Choros, which is kind of crazy. But I don't know why we go with Shaco there. What the idea was. I guess it's not horrible in the Rakan, but man, it would have been really nice to have some true peel for this Tristana or truly like good engaged setup for this Tristana so she could blow up targets. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting draft. You just have the Scion to kind of stand in front and hope for the best. But I don't think it's hard for Wukong, Rakan, or Ari to kind of access this back line. Nas is just there to do DKing things, smack him in the face with it. Um, Nothing. It's really not like a important pick in the draft, I think. Uh, but the Graves had a decent game here,
Graves is wild.
but I think Graves game five. I think Stunner had some limitations here, and I know he's not a jungle player, but it really shows itself here in this series. Man, I would have loved if he just was able to kind of slam that Wukong instead and play it. I think Wukong's not a hard champion to play. I know what he gave his team such a better setup. Wukong plus Ori, man, would have been absolutely nasty. And Tristana would certainly get resets pretty quickly there.
I I've seen the Marshall Shaco. He busted it out earlier in the split.
Yeah, I remember
I
that. I do remember
think
that.
yeah. And honestly, on paper, not terrible. You have a lot of stuff coming into you, so the boxes do have value. But the problem is like with Shaco, you need a good mid jungle that's able to like pressure the line and create a lot of space. And to me, Oriana Graves is not doing it. The only way you set up a ball combo is Shaco Q's into them with the Ori ball, and you just press R. And you do some tricky shit that way. But Scion's got to contain, or at least has to respond the Nasus and stay top lane until the value's worth it to move. So your four-man squad is just getting absolutely just shit on
Yeah.
by engages from Rakan, Wukong, Ari. And even if you do get something magical onto Zaya, she just R's away like 90% of the shit you just threw at her. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah,
I
I definitely agree with that. It's definitely what do you do situation. Yeah, I don't know. I get it. Like you said, on paper, it's always on paper. And execution matters. But that's why I think in a game five, the spice is nice, but I feel like the spice is better in game three, game four, game two. This is
Yeah.
better for man. We're in game five. We need to win this. Pull out our best champs or the best possible champs that give us the ease of execution. Like that's what game five should be about. You're not looking to draft anything crazy. The game five is easy execution. I mean, and again, you could say, and I think CoinFlip will probably say, live and die by the sword. Just pick your champs. But to me, you can pick your champs and still pick something that simplifies the draft.
I just yeah, for me it's like you said, you're this ended up becoming like champ pool diff, and I know Marshall probably lit up and was like, dude, they're all coming in the boxes. Let's just pick it. But in the grand scheme of like what your comp actually needs, it's not useful at all.
Yeah, I think a Leona here would have been great. By the way, like 100%.
Uh, I think anything but the Shaco.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like Leona locks down Rakan really easily. It's not horrible into Zaya. It's truly not horrible into Ari either. If you land an E on Ari, that short period of CC allows you to pretty much layer all your other abilities on top of her. Like you have so much that can really CC lock down the team, and it's even a delivery system for the Oriana because I think Cyan is not the best delivery system, so the Ori is perfect with the Leona pick.
It's Scion's great delivery system until you lose grubs and then you blink twice and Nasus is at your Nexus. So
Yeah,
it's like it's yeah. I do agree with the Leona. I think it rounds out the comp a little bit better
yeah,
overall here.
and it works with the Tristana who wants to go into like you level three, level two, you just turn fight, jump on their heads, and you just try to gap them like that. And lastly, Choros is like, and I'm not even trying to be the meme when I say this. He's one of their best players. You want to unlock him. I feel like here he's not unlocked. What sets him
No,
up? Good luck playing the game, especially when he picks something like Tristana. At that point, he might as well pick Ezreal and just fucking chillax in the background and say, "Hello, here's a cue. Enjoy your mystic shot to the face." If
Yeah.
you're gonna draft a comp like this, I would have rather seen the Ezreal probably with the Shaco or something, and just play poke comp in the bot lane or something. But with all that said, I mean, yeah, you're right. It was definitely champ pool limitations. Um, I think this is one of Pixel's better of his mages picks, by the way, in the Ori, but it's still just like I don't think it's what he wants to match Ririka with. And if you don't give your other roles hard advantages, you're going to fall apart if you're Vancouver. And I think that's the biggest thing that happened here. So I'm not really surprised by the 3 game sweep in that regard. Um, but I'm sure that must have been so tilting for Vancouver to lose 3 game like that. So, but I'm gonna just flip to the end of this game. Because I would say this one was pretty close to be honest, but I think we're good to move on to the next series. We're at we've made it all the way here to game 5, so I'm gonna show you guys the end. Unless CLT has anything else he'd like to say about the series while I show you guys the last fights.
No, I mean, while you're letting it play, I mean, big big props for Vancouver. You beat the number one team in your group to get in. You kind of role swapped for majority of the split until you settled onto this roster, and they had some really good fights against a lot of really high quality teams. So definitely deserved to be in the playoffs and had a really great split overall.
Yeah, fantastic, an absolutely fantastic run, and you shouldn't they shouldn't feel down about this. I know there was a lot of stuff in the chat, and I've maybe there's a place and time for it. I don't know who started it or what happened, but overall, like I hope that they come back and keep their heads held high because they had two really phenomenal splits here in the Midwest League
Yeah.
so far that they've competed in. But yeah, good luck fighting into Hashtag Soul, which I think this was the only Soul of the series, by the way, that was actually completed. So
That
there you
sounds
go.
about right. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck into that. But yeah, now we
Mhm.
can finally get into the next one, which is Coin Flip versus Saboro, and luckily this is a 3 game series, so nice and simple and sweet to the point.
Uh, Actually, it is a two-game series.
Oh, that is right. I forgot what happened. Good thing you brought it up. So it is technically a 2 game series because unfortunately Saboro did forfeit game 3. So with that said, uh, we don't have anything to look at. There's nothing in the highlights. There's nothing anywhere. What is happening? Okay, well, we're gonna have to use the in-game stuff to kind of talk about. I'll let you kind of discuss the comps a little bit here for game 1.
So, I'll go back to the draft here. So, big props to War again casting this one. Um, I think this was going to be a very interesting matchup. I think Saburo had angles that they could approach and like maybe try to seek advantages into coin flip. The draft here for this game 1, I thought was like it was interesting. Coin flip showing the R1 Silas first, I think is something a little out of the norm for them. They normally hold at least solo laner plus support into the second phase, which I guess technically they did do with Leona Malphite, but picking something as volatile as like a Silas, uh, Arresto is a fantastic mid. Don't get me wrong, but his I've typically seen his style be more of like a scaling mage or like a slower paced mage. He typically loves letting the game come to him, which is what coin flip absolutely needs because everybody else goes and takes the game by the balls. They fight a lot, and in terms of their name, they do flip quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
um, in that regard, so I thought their draft was interesting. The R5 Malphite into Darius. Darius is something we haven't seen in a bit. I don't think Darius was really a prominent pick. Maybe the last time I seen Havoc busted out a couple splits ago when he was playing full time. I thought he was a pretty talented Darius here. Um, but the Kindred, I'll kind of defer to you, being more the jungle expert here. What is your thoughts on this Kindred? Because it kind of came out of left field for me.
Um, I mean, it's Kindred. I think Kindred is reserved for Kindred players. I am not one of those, and so I do not play it. I've even tried it a couple of times. I've struggled. It's funny. I can play Graves. I can't play Kindred. And as Em always tells me, it's because, well, Graves is basically a melee champ. I don't like, you're freaking hilarious. So,
Uh,
um, he's basically saying I can't play the range champs at this point. But yeah, so uh, yeah, Kindred is it's just it's really what I said. It's reserved for a Kindred player. If you know the Kindred well, you know how to play it. You've had a lot of games in it. She becomes a very strong, like like sometimes counter pick, sometimes just unique pick, as it does kind of make the game a little bit different around how you want to play as a jungler, because she has some unique pathing she can do. Her gank angles are a little more unique than something like a Pantheon. Can't dash over walls. I gotta walk to you. You know. Um, so there's some interesting stuff there, and then you gotta play the mini game. When you play the mini game, if the Kindred is doing well at her mini game, then good luck. If you guys are doing well at stopping her from getting her marks, the Kindred is so hard to play. So she does have a bit of that like Viego thing I talk about, where it's like there's something specific of how you want to play with this around this champion, but it's very easily like countered if executed well. And I think in a team environment is the base you counter it the most. But even with that said, I mean, if this guy plays Kindred well, I mean, slam it, you know. So, in the Pantheon, I think it's Pantheon favored for a while though. Pantheon should win the matchup early on.
I think this is a really good Pantheon spot. I'm trying to go back. So they picked early, but then they picked outside of Ashe, basically like 3.5 melees, at least until Kindred gets a few stacks. Um, so it's it's just it's a really good Pantheon game. I do like the Malphite as well. There's really not much AP damage coming out of Saboro's comp, so I think the R5 Malphite was actually pretty big.
No, it's a great pick. It was really nice. One thing I'll also note: I'm Winter with a nice solo kill early on Aristotle, and then Aristotle with a nice roam to get himself into manage back. Um, but early part of this game, it seems pretty quiet, which I kind of expect it to be. The Kindred just wants to farm. The Pantheon wants to play for level 6. The really only angle where you might see some crazy fighting would be the bot side of the map, but even then, like, it's Braum into Leona. It's not easy. And Ashe is obviously historically good into Kaisa. So,
Yeah, yeah. Plus, this is Geoprow's Leona. Uh, Press the attack, ignite, full, just fight.
yeah, he wants to duke it out, and it makes sense. He should win it, like be able to literally just kill the Ashe himself. Um, so,
Yep.
but
Kind of skimming through this game. I see Winter though got himself a pretty decent advantage here in the mid lane. Got the first blood
yeah, and that's how
onto
the
the
the matchup
Silas.
should go. By the way, like if you even watch Pixel into Ririka in game one, like Pixel was pretty much winning the matchup in terms of, um, like overall trades after like about a half item, right? Like once she gets a little magic resist, the Silas can't do too much. So you kind of got to look for advantages out of lane at that point. But the Silas can't really wave clear, like as like he can't wave clear so much faster than Galio. The Galio kind of can match that, if not even clear a little quicker. So, oh, and Terry Kim getting a double kill top side of the map. I'm not surprised. That guy is an absolute beast. I just watched that on my screen. About 14 minutes. Uh, Darius stuff.
Yeah, Darius definitely sounds like a Terry Kim champion. He's also one of those top liners that is psycho and walks with his chest out.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. But yeah, I mean, Saboro, like, They were up big in this game, by the way. I'm at the 16-minute mark. They're up 6K. So this is very interesting that they end up not only forfeiting the series at one point, but also they were kind of beating up on coin flip. And we kind of discussed coin flip a bit, like what are they going to look like going into the playoffs, but the lineup finally solidified, and this is what it's going to be as everybody's back from vacations or back from whatever they got going on in their personal lives. Um, and I did kind of fear for them a bit because their early game woes, and they kind of showed their self in this game one, right? So Saboro kind of taking off a bit. So I'm kind of curious what flips the game. All I gotta say, if it's an Otacon, I swear to
I mean, if a game is going to get flipped, it's going to probably be around this Otacon here.
It's
So,
Otacon or it's like Drake 3, and I feel like it's coming. I feel like it's coming. I don't know how long this game lasts due to not having any stuff on the Battlefy, so we kind of just have to go with what we know. But
I'm seeing a big turn at around the 20-minute mark.
yeah, it starts with a nice pick on Darius. Matthias gets a beautiful Malphite ult. The Kindred does actually outplay, gets herself a nice double kill, but Geoprow doing Geoprow things kind of gets in there, um, and survives just long enough, forcing the Braum to Q and Leona, and triple kill there for Bori. Bori kind of standing up. Um, I can only imagine the caster call I would have had at that moment.
Hmm.
I could just hear my voice now when I said that. But yeah, man, that's it. And it's not specifically an Otacon fight. It just happens to happen right around the Otacon. And Bori and Matthias are like, hey, we can hit Otacon. So, but yeah, that's gonna flip the game right there. And Terry Kim probably thought he could win that, right? And he felt comfortable taking that 2v1. But unfortunately, once he dies and Malphite gets a beautiful ult, the fight flips because there's so much happening on two ends. Even with that said, though, there's still a 3K gold lead for the side of Saburo, so they still have to fight back. But the Otacon kind of supplements some of that gold a bit and gives them a way back into this game. But then they're able to get picks. They're starting to break turrets, and getting basically double aced is going to result in that gold lead switching and swapping here at the 24-minute mark.
Oh, looking at 22:45. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the fight that happens where they end up getting a delayed ace there by the 23 minutes when it
Yeah,
starts with that
there's
20-second fight.
I just went back and looked at that fight again to see if I caught everything. And Bori's nice little sidestep on the Ash arrow. That was pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, very clean, very
So Bori having himself a good score line here.
clean.
Makes playoff Bori incoming.
Yeah, it might be, and we're gonna discuss the next series because or at least we will get to the next series that they played, where I know that he absolutely popped off. From what I heard, had some hero moments. Um, but yeah, I mean it's a close game, bro. Once the game got flipped, it became very close. It was about even here at 26 minutes. Drake's all tied up as well. Um, Sucks that we can't see how many stacks the Kindred has. I would love to know like the stacks at this point in the game. Um, but I would assume probably anywhere between 4 and like maybe 7 at this point if she was able to acquire them. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like this game is really riding on can the Kindred make the plays. So they go for a Baron flip at 27.5 minutes, and this is going to be like the big turning point fight. Initially, it looks good, but once again, like you just see fights happening on two ends. The Ash absolutely gets popped, and now it's up to Kindred, but she's just stuck inside while Baron's hitting and just doing absolutely work. There's a world where maybe Darius could actually turn it too. There's a lot of low HP bars, but the GA for Bori really probably kind of saved that play a bit. So, and then after Baron, they just more fighting. Well, not surprised. Coin flip, fight him, kill him, go find them. It's a long
Hmm.
game actually. It's gonna cross the 30 minute threshold here, which I feel like should favor. Oh, never mind. Never mind. The game ends right after I say that. Yeah. So it starts with them actually getting a pick on a Geoprow. They get him actually nearly just pop him. Yeah, they do. Silas tries to take the ulti and fight it, but man, Aristotle with a beautiful chains. Uh, Winter comes in with a decent ulti, but it's just not enough. And the AD carries doing their best to hit, but Terry Kim coming in late to the fight, I think is the biggest difference, even after the Leona pick. And too much to jump on their heads. Boyer gets another triple kill, and that's going to be your ball game right then and there. So really nice first game here from Coin Flip to get them advantage and a 1-0 lead on the series.
Yeah, I think a lot of their positions to fight, especially looking at where Darius was on the map, they ended up fighting away from him quite well, even though Darius was probably outside of Bori the biggest guy on the map. So it was
Yeah,
really nice from Coinflip
yeah.
to pick these fights very smartly.
Yeah, Darius finished him with a 6-4 and 5 score line. I mean, he did 22k damage. He definitely did some work. The most damage in the game for his team. I think the biggest issue here is that your Ash and your Kindred, and part of that maybe is getting jumped on, but they're only doing 19 and 14k, less than 20k a piece. And what is a decently long game? I feel like they both could have done a little more um, in this game. Your Galio Darius are doing the most, and there's caveats for Darius. I get it; he's kind of smacking him out a bit, but still, it just feels kind of feels bad. You definitely need more from those true carry roles.
Yep. So I'm pretty good with this game.
Yeah,
If you are, my friend.
I am. I'm flipping into game two right now. I'll let
Oh, I
you.
got some thoughts on this one.
Yes, go ahead, go away.
we we're looking at this game two draft, and Saburo just got coin flipped in the draft, or also the acceptable term is you got scorched, because they are known for doing this too, and being absolutely flexible with anything. You don't think that this Morgana could go mid, but it's also Arresto. He plays this mid. I think he's even played it in the jungle when he was there.
Yeah, a couple times.
Why are we picking Malzahar? Like I don't. Uh, uh, yeah, I don't get this. I am a fairly avid Malzahar enjoyer. I don't play him that often because he just doesn't have the greatest spots to be picked in, but I enjoy the champion. I just don't know why you would ever pick Malzahar R5. Um, you have Vi, who's unstoppable, Caitlyn, who's going to be out of range, Morgana is going to be able to black shield and could be a potential flex pick mid. Her tormented soil clears out everything you ever throw at her. You're never going to have your passive up into Vi, so you're going to get ganked every chance you can get. Nautilus, if you waste ult on him, okay, cool. And he's still going to knock you up with his R. And then Cassante has an unstoppable W as well. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know how this Malzahar ever plays the game. Um, Terry on though he had a really nice performance from what I remember. Um, definitely in that like Marco Noah discussion is like being a very volatile, aggressive top laner. So this Yasuo pick made a boatload of sense. Um, but the story again was Saboro drafted a lot of really like secondary carries, and there really wasn't a primary one outside of the Yasuo, and even then, he's into Vi. So the Vi Nautilus, like, what do you do?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I
uh,
hate Saboro's draft.
yeah, I mean, bringing. I think it more agrees to Malzahar, to be honest with you. I'm okay with the Malzahar pick. It's unfortunate to the Morgana, but um, I, I, Yasuo. What Yasuo top is just crazy. Like, and there's no knockups. He doesn't need knockups to play the game, but like, his knockup is what? There's nothing. Literally, there's not a thing on his team. There's nothing to help him play the game, and you're matching a you're matching what you call it, a
Casante?
Casante. Yeah, my brain is so fried from a five
It's
game
all good.
series talk. Casante, I don't like that, man. I just don't know. That's probably more egregious. And then Lilia again. Lilia even in game two, it's just I don't know what's up with these Lilia players, but um, it's surprising to keep seeing this champion get picked at all. And I expect for the rest of the playoffs we will not be seeing it, by the way. But yeah, it's pretty wild. Somebody might just do it to meme me now. They're gonna watch the show, and then the next 3 weeks they're gonna be like, "We're picking Lilia, slam it, because here was said, why pick Lilia?" So they'll do it. They'll do it. Avo's gonna do it. He's gonna pull it out on me next week.
I mean, again, I think Lilia has spots, but not in game two. I don't
Yeah,
like it. Just
and it doesn't even pair well with the comp that they've set up. I
no.
mean,
This comp does no damage outside of Yasuo.
yeah, I mean, Malzahar late game is gonna hit like a truck. Ezreal can Ezreal can't free hit here, but if the Vi ulti goes on someone else, or actually, if let me rephrase that, Ezreal can free hit because of Bard. If he is if Bard is the champion that is alting every time the Vi ults, right, the target, it's great. Like then the target will be perfectly fine. Vi ulti will still go through, but he won't get hit. So there's actually a playable angle for the Ezreal. So the late game here would not be bad for Saburo, in my opinion. But like you have to get to late game. Like 35 minutes plus
Mm,
late game, I think. Not even 30 minutes plus, 35 minutes plus. You need
I,
Elder on the map. You need 4 items on your Malzahar, 4 items on your Ezreal, 4 items on your Yasuo, and then you can play the game.
sure. I mean, maybe champ versus champ, but like comp versus comp. There's no like Saburo loses, in my opinion, at all stages of the game. There's just no way they can walk through. Caitlyn traps Tormented Soil. Cassante is going to stand his ground. Nautilus is going to be able to just free hook anybody. Like everybody is scared of a Nautilus hook because you have no front line to tank it. Your Malzahar, maybe if you want to say like his passive can tank it, well, good luck because you got Tormented Soil being everywhere. I don't know. I hate this draft. Might be my least favorite draft of the split, to be honest.
That's a wild draft, and that's at the same point at 12 minutes. It's 7-7 in kills, 21 kills, 21 Ks. So like, I don't know. I mean, you can hate the draft all you want, buddy, but it's still playable.
I mean, it is. We just maybe have to go define playable. I mean, Terry Kim gets an early double kill, so he does find himself getting a little bit of an advantage in lane. But like I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. We see hints of how Morgana versus Malzahar goes here at about the 9 and 3/4, almost 10-minute mark.
Yeah, I saw that. It
Or
was
like,
almost a 1-for-1 too, which is really funny.
yeah, it's just like,
Well,
yeah,
one other thing I would note, I don't think Bork is great here for Yasuo because the Cassante is not really known for building just straight HP. He really wants to build mostly resistances. I know there's
yeah.
um, a Heartsteel build that he can go, but I've been told countless times by my top laner Vic that it's pretty much almost useless. There are times for it, but it's really not his main build. He really just wants armor or magic resist, right? He wants the resistances to kind of set him up. So I don't think you need the Bork here. There's just something. There's other things you can build that would probably be more useful in Casante. Like just go your crit build at that point, or if you're playing Yasuo top, maybe just get tanky with some damage. But yeah, I mean, that's all I'll state about the Yasuo. So I feel like that item doesn't really get much value, so you can't really push your advantage as the Yasuo pick here. Um, but yeah, you're pretty much right. It does become pretty much unplayable unless you get to super late game, like I said. And good luck getting there when you're playing against Coin Flip and the comp they have, Brandino's Vi plus Geoprow's Nautilus. Like they're gonna get in there. They're gonna find ways to fight you, even if you don't want to fight. So
Yeah.
yeah, the game it stayed close until about what like the 20-minute mark or so, which is pretty much Otacon. It's always Otacon. It's always Otacon, man. Wait a second. I just watched Salty use the Bard ult on Matthias, who was being ulted by Malzahar. So and then he takes no damage. That is
Wait, where
that
is
was
this at?
20 minutes, the 20-minute mark. A bit of a miscue there, and it's kind of unfortunate. And you got to think that maybe the Cassante ends up just dying for free before the fight really gets to start to kick off.
Oh, that's a feels bad. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just completely wasted. And the fight still goes pretty
Yeah.
close, pretty even. And I want to say if the Cassante just dies there, or at least nearly dies because of that bouncer ulti, that they just straight up win the fight. So, but
Yeah.
it ends up being extended a bit too. But Caitlyn uh, dropping traps on TP, ace in the hole. Winter is just in a horrible spot. They pick him up off the TP
Uh,
back in, and they could get Otacon. So that pretty much is what breaks the game. And it's all off
I
on miscue, man.
Yeah, I remember I think Bori having himself a Caitlyn moment where somebody stepped onto a trap and he like auto net autoed and just one shot somebody from like 75% health or something like that. I do remember hearing something about that in this game, but yeah, this is this is coin flip at their finest here. I'm pretty happy that overall. Oh my lord! I just watched the headshot up top lane. Um, yeah, I'm happy that this is the form we're seeing them in. I don't think they would disagree that they didn't have the greatest regular season here, but it definitely looks like they're getting in strides for the playoffs here.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
this game,
if you look at this series totality, I think game one was a bit scary. They didn't look great in the early part of game one, and they made some mistakes. I think game two they looked better overall. Obviously, they were able to balloon this lead by 28 minutes. It's 59K to 48K. It's an 11K gold lead. Uh, but I don't think Coin Flip was probably overly satisfied with the series. I think they were happy with how game two ended though, and I'm sure they would have loved to play game three to see if they could kind of carry that momentum over, knowing the type of players and team that Coin Flip is. Um, but I don't think this series specifically is like the calling card to say, okay, coin flip is just automatically back. This is just the one leg where like that game, it looks great, and you want to carry that momentum, and I think they do carry that momentum. I believe we'll have to get into the next series, but based on the information I know, but yeah. At the end of the day, they get Soul here at 34 minutes. The game, I feel like the game should have ended quicker. Their goal lead is massive here at 34 minutes. Why is this game still going on? Malzahar wave clear maybe. But yeah, it doesn't end. It ends pretty quickly afterwards. They look for a cheesy play, the old fanatic bush, and it doesn't work out. They're kind of caught in a weird spot. Yasuo has the TP in and gets absolutely obliterated, and then Geo Prow and Aristotle are just dealing with three of them themselves, while team is just pushing into the Nexus. So it's pretty unfortunate. That's how Sapporo loses. But yeah, I mean that's the series, guys. We will not get a game three. Like I said, they forfeited. Not something we normally get, but that is what happened. So now we get back into the semifinals. What actually just happened this past week when our double elimination bracket starts, and we got Instinct versus Femboy Jellyfish, and what a series it was. This was played the same day as your series there, the coin flip Hashira series. And man, was this an absolute banger of a series. Me and Arpaz casted, and it was certainly a lot of fun. Um, I'll go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about game one here. So Femboys, they're able to edge out this game one, and it starts with really Angel Boy just having himself continuously, game after game, it seems like the guy was just pretty much performing. If Ririka isn't popping off, this guy certainly is. Ririka did have a comfortable game here on the Hawaii game one, which is absolutely wild. J4, who I think has quietly became the strongest jungler on the most recent patches, getting picked up here. If Wukong's not available, or if you don't want to play Wukong, you pick this champ. Absolutely busted. It's pretty good in stuff like Nico, Vi, and Oriana. Like it's not great. I shouldn't say it's great in Devi, but it's not bad in Devi. Certainly good in Ori and Nico. So it really does set up the team to be able to do their damage and just free hit. The Braum pick I thought was pretty excellent, and then Noah had a quietly pretty good game topside on this Aatrox. He kind of popped off most of the game, created space well. Uh, Unfortunately, Good Boy he didn't really have the performance you'd want from him on this Ori. Like I said, for most of the split, I think he's had his worst split on paper, and this series kind of showcased that. I think Rust is a part of that, and Rust is a part of the reason I changed my pick to a 3-2 Femboy Jellyfish victory. Um, so I'm off to a good start here. As I will point out, I picked coin flip the previous week as well, so I would be 3-0 at this point without knowing what happened in the other series at the time. So yeah, man, it's a really fun game one, 31-minute game, bit of a banger there. Is there anything that you kind of noticed there in the draft initially?
Mm, I think the Galio top into Aatrox. I kind of want to go back to the draft here. I mean, you're picking Galio with you're picking B1 Oriana Vi, so like you do have the ball delivery combo. Uh, After they took away they R1 the Jarvan, so Jarvan Oriana's off the table. Vi's kind of the next best thing, but then the Galio, I don't know what kind of the thought is on the Galio. Maybe it's flexible to support, but then I see the R4 Braum, so you see the bot lane there, and you still end up going for the Nico support to flex Galio to top lane. It just kind of, I think having such an easily exploitable pickup there against a top laner like Noah is very risky. I see Noah made him burn his flash and TP fairly early on into the lane with the Aatrox pick here. I would have just loved to see the Galio go support. It doesn't. It's not really that terrible into the Braum that I've heard supports talk about. My former support Pens is a big avid Galio support player, and he typically loves melee versus melee when it comes to playing the Galio support. So, yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. I don't know again if like say Arctic's Poppy was banned, but Poppy top I wouldn't think would be too terrible here with the Jarvan and Braum kind of going forward off the Jarvan here. Um, Obviously that would tweak what Noah picks. So draft wise, I thought that was an interesting decision to throw the Galio top when you have a very aggressive uh, and volatile player like Noah. Because like he could pick Aatrox, he could pick Darius would go well here, Garen would go well here. Like anything, just AD and aggressive can make this Galio's life a living hell.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think Arctic played it bad topside, but definitely not really the pick into Aatrox. He's okay into it early, but once Aatrox gets six, once Aatrox becomes a champ, level 8 9, it's hard, man. It's definitely hard. The Galio, I think the idea was to pair nicely with the Vi. It's not really too bad with Nico as well, but I don't think you really need that safety net there. I mean, your comp already just wants to kind of go in. I think you'd be better off having either something else that can go in or just something that can duel the Aatrox, kind of like you said. Gotta kind of go back and look at exact draft order because I don't remember the pick order off the top of my head. But um, yeah, that would have been definitely a little better there. So this series has the fun notion that I think Red Side won every single time. By the way,
Interesting.
yeah,
Blue won 4 out of 5 times
yeah, in the other series,
last week.
yeah,
Yeah, and the
It's always Femboy
Vancouver.
series, man. It's just Femboy series.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Ririka about these 5-game series, bro.
Yeah,
This is a lot to cover.
it's a trend. It's a trend with this. Well, we'll get to talk to him here in about another hour. We'll see how this last 8 games go. We'll try our best to get through them. Um, it's our own fault. We didn't get the Midwest Weekly out last week. We deserve this. No, it's really was just Wednesday. We normally record on Wednesdays. This week we're recording on Monday because again it's a Wednesday match. You know what, coin flip, coin flip. I need to speak to your agents, your scheduling manager or whoever, man, because this is getting flat out ridiculous. And if you're watching this episode, Brandino, you're fired. You're freaking fired, bro. But yeah,
that's why we're doing it on a Monday this week.
Yeah, buddy.
Freaking Wednesday series.
Yeah. But yeah, no, dude, this was definitely a very very fun game one, and it was close. Both teams were fighting back often and certainly well against each other. I'm trying to remember. Like, I don't actually specifically remember game one as much because it was a long night. You know, I think it was like a 5-hour stream almost. Um, I honestly want to say this is probably the most uneventful game of the series. Funny enough, this might be. And it's not even anything in particular. Just wasn't something that really sticks out of my brain. So I'm kind of flipping through to try to remember myself, so I could give any key details, but they're just not there.
Yeah, I have not had a chance to watch all of this series, so yeah. See, Noah looked like he got a solo kill up top when Arctic DC'd, maybe.
Oh yeah, that happened too. That was really sad. He just straight DC'd, and they paused after he died, so I don't know if they were just trying to follow the rules, which I respect if they were. But man, that is so unfortunate. Like that is the worst possible DC timer if that's the case. Um, and they got the quick pause and we came back into the game. But you know that might have been the most eventful thing. I think Don got a couple decent setups here on the Nico as well. Like it wasn't completely like lost on me that some nice things happened in this game, but once it got to a point where they just couldn't deal with the Hue or the Zaya very well, it just became hard to play because there's really nothing that the Zaya is threatened by, in my opinion. Kind of the Nico, but that's it. Vi, the only time Vi gets to go on to the Zaya is when the Zaya doesn't have the Featherstorm. And Hue, you can jump on Hue all you want, but all he has to do is drop all of his abilities on somebody's head, and he's pretty much popping them, right? So, yeah, there's actually a 25-minute play. Like, that Nico ulti was actually pretty decent, but it didn't mean enough. The team wasn't set up for the play, and Femboys was there more, and they got the setup. Good boy was a little outside of the play, and they just kind of get chased down after that. Eclipse ends up falling on the back end, and I remember like the game just starts to break from here on. They're able to kind of acquire the Baron. They were already on their way to Soul, and I don't even think they ended up needing the Soul. I can't remember. I gotta watch. I think they just win a fight at the Soul, and then they end the game. Because I remember the joke with me and our pies the whole series was we haven't got a Soul, and he kept going, "Oh, a Soul? We haven't seen an a Soul?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we have. We've had a Soul in the jungle, a Soul in the bottom." That became the long running joke of our cast for some weird reason. He was memeing me when I said that. maybe it was game 5 or 4 we got a Soul, so acquired, but teams have been ending before they even need it. And I don't think with the Goldie they acquired with the Baron they had did they actually need to get the Infernal. But they were set up to do so. They kind of look for the bait, which I think is really smart. Like you can just hit the Drake, of course, but you don't have to. We get a TP in from Arctic, and then the fight kind of starts off. But before like Vi even gets into Alt Ririka, is pretty much just dead, and the fight's just over. And after that, maybe they do get Soul, but I think the game ends after Soul. So. And maybe this is the one I forgot they got Soul. So I don't even know why we were memeing this whole thing. I don't remember, man. God, what was the thing, our pies, if you're watching this? Why are we memeing this so much? There was lots of memes that day. But yeah, they're walking down bot lane and they win the game.
This is like also a pretty insane comp to give Solo to. Soul, Fire Drake, Soul over to was the Hue. Especially he's pretty scaled up for the most part, 3 items. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I mean, commented previously that Ririka was working on his mages and went head to head, which with the mage master, as I would consider him, and Good Boy. So
Yeah,
yeah.
he definitely played it well. I think Hue is one of those interesting ones, to say the least. It could be pretty toxic champ at times, but yeah, Soul in the end is pretty much what happens, and get ourselves a GG. So that was game one. Let's see if my memory helps me with game two. Let's see if my brain works. But yeah, so game two, Arctic pulling out the Yorick. Yeah, the Yorick. Actually, I do remember the Yorick having a lot of success. This is the one thing I definitely already looking at this sticking out. Avalon was able to come up there, get him ahead. They punished Noah a bunch. Didn't have TP on this Rumble, so he was ended up losing waves, um, which hurt him a bit. A good boy here on the Ziggs. I think it was a really smart pick. Really good into Azir, um, as he struggles a bit with those long range mages. Um, Marika didn't look horrible on the pick. I will definitely say that, but it's definitely not something that I think he's as comfortable with. But I respect him, pulling it out and definitely trying something different in this series, trying to kind of throw them off. And it definitely is a good boy champion, so you get him off that. Um, and then Eclipse Don Don had a nice little game in the bot lane there with the Corki Alistar. Alistar was beautiful pick here. It works so well. There's nothing that can really shut him down, and it's a counter matchup in a Thresh. Even though you can play the headbutt, and Higgins I think even did it once or twice in this game, but it just doesn't matter if you ever hook the Alistar. Unbreakable, flash engage. That's literally every time. It's a classic. I think if anyone remembers the old clip, I think it was Lustboy playing the Alistar years ago, and that's exactly what happened. Just I got hooked. I don't care. R flash in. Everybody dead. So I think
Mhm.
it was a beautiful pick there from Don Don, and it pretty much shut them out of the game. Mac was not able to really have too much of a pop off, which I don't think this was his game to do so. He's playing the Ash pick. You're kind of relying on the Rumble Pantheon Azir kind of to do the work of the game. And unfortunately, like with the Rumble behind, even though he did do some damage, and the Pantheon, yes, getting gold, but really having a lot to get through to get to like backline access, it just wasn't free. So you just hope and pray the Azir could do Azir things, and that just did not happen in totality.
I don't like this as your pick at all. Like, there's just no way you're going to be able to free hit with Sejuani Alistar's zigs over the top. You can't have much access to Corki at all. Um, yeah, mm, I don't know about this one. And Azir doesn't strike me as a Ririka champion, though. I imagine, like I said, he's been practicing a lot of mages, so um, I'll get to probably watch this fully at a later date. But just looking at this draft, I mean, this could have been a world for something. I mean, the Ari's not terrible here. Ari Pantheon kind of plays the Talia Pantheon dream a little bit. They did ban Talia early, wanting to get away from Good Boy. But I think if you're on blue side and you're gonna play a set like 1, 2, 3 Terrace on the Pantheon, I think you leave the Talia up and you just go after it, unless they're afraid of like Good Boy punishing it with some artillery. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think wouldn't Zig still be fine in Talia?
Yeah, but Talia Pantheon just has a lot of
Kill threat.
uh, just yeah, kill threat, but the Talia also has a little bit more like zone control, which I guess Ziggs also kind of you just play a better zone control game, but you kind of commit to Ziggs having the push, and then you're just threatened more by the Pantheon. I'd probably say like Ari would be probably the one really solid pick here. Though I see Higgins already had a roam off here at around the 5 minutes to put a lot of pressure on Good Boy.
Yeah, he did that, but it didn't net a kill. It did get something. Right, you got the flash on the Zigs, but the thing to note was that On the flip side, Don Don's roam was on a flashless Noah without TP. Gets punished once again when he already got ganked off the back of that Sejuani there. So um, this work was getting ahead very fast and getting gold funneled into him. And Arctic is a player that could certainly win games when he's being given the setup to do so. And so you tie that all into the fact that again, like there wasn't just enough to access his backline, access his Ziggs or Corki. Man, it's just gonna be hard because you have to deal with the split while not having a TP to match unless you send your Azir, which you really want to be in the fights. So it was a really weird situation. Like you kind of just hope that the Pantheon can do Pantheon things, use the alt really well in side lanes in the mid game, and get you advantages that way. So with that said, though, like there was still some like bright spots. Like I think the fight at 7 minutes, Ririka with a nice flash engage there onto both the Sejuani and the Yorick was a good little play. Um, then they're able to. I don't remember if they kill Good Boy. They might not be able to do so. I think they do. It ends up being a really net advantage here for the side of Femboys. But as the game progressed again, like the Ziggs became powerful. The Zero couldn't do too much, and just got harder and harder. And again, Don Don with these flash combo engages were cracked, man. He was very quick with it. Very, very impressive. Which I'm not really too surprised from him. He's definitely the type of player that can do that. Oh, but you know what I remember laughing about? Late level sixes for supports. They both got it at like 11 minutes of the game because they roam so much. Oh man, League of Legends could be so funny sometimes. Just roam. That's all you need to do if you want to win the game.
Yeah.
Would you say, in your opinion, that Femboys gets outscaled? Because that was kind of my take on this game when we were casting it.
Mm, I think they have a better team fight, and carry for carry, I do like the consistent damage out of Femboys more. But into Alistar Sejuani, if you take Rumble out of the equation because he has to answer Arctic split, especially when Arctic got ahead early, I think you look at it as more of the 4-man versus 4-man, and I do like Instinct's 4-man a lot more. Once they get scaled up, I think Rumble puts in a lot of work on these team fights with assisting with the pick on the Ash Arrow, into Pantheon. He has a really really good spread to lay down the equalizer. But I mean, I kind of give it to Instinct as 4-man.
Yeah, I kind of feel this. I kind of feel a similar way, but I do think overall the scaling is just better for Instinct, just because of how their comp wants to play into them. I get Azir. I know what Azir's late game looks like, and I understand the champion. But it's just I don't think it's enough. I really don't think he's enough because I don't think Rumble is just going to free play this game or Pantheon as the game progresses. It just gets harder and harder. That was always my take, and that was really my take in game one. On the other side of things, I think when you swap the names of the comps and switch it around, right? When Femboys was on red side, I felt the same way. And a lot of these drafts to me and comps to me every game was one team just had a slightly better scaling advantage, and they just happened to be red side. And as the game progressed, you saw that come out. So really,
Yeah,
it was that's what was cool about this matchup, by the way, too. These two teams were really good at drafting overall, in this series specifically. I think Boys made some mistakes in drafting in week one, but they cleaned it up here in this series.
yeah. I think the biggest knock you could always give to like Femboys, or especially um, Ririka teams, was like how he would fare in Mage v Mage matchups, and I think he really, really made it a point to practice those, and being against someone as good as Good Boy. Also, the fact that now he's adding mages to his pool helps him in Fearless against guys like Good Boy or even like Zenma Ghost Tiger, where he can start to eliminate their pool as well with these picks and play him at a prominent level.
Yeah,
But both these mid laners can pull out some really weird stuff We've
Yeah,
seen Good Boy pull out stuff like the Vel'Koz and the Vladimir, over the last couple splits for Rika with his melee mids like Viego, um, even Kog'Maw mid, stuff like that.
yeah.
So these mid laners are make it impossible to draft against.
Agreed. I wanted to bring up a play that I think, and I kind of forgot about it. And when I was rewatching, I was like, oh, yeah, that was a bit of an interesting play. So it's about 23:40 or so. They do a mid dive. The tier 1 is still standing, and Femboy just gets completely punished for it. It's the strangest play I've ever seen. But off that play, Instinct's able to acquire so much gold, get up the gold lead to nearly 5. Or no, it goes to 4K, I'm sorry. And it kind of balloons it for them off the back of just a really strange play that they just did not need to make in this game. I think because like yeah they were a little bit behind, and I do think the scaling situation, but like they had time. Like as long as Azir is able to play the game, I thought they'd be fine enough to play. Like Yorick would
Oh,
be a
this is
problem, but that play was insane.
I yeah, this is this is a weird one. You're you want to play this game super super slow, and that's not it.
No, it's definitely not. So it's very strange. The Baron I think is like a 26-minute Baron or 27-minute Baron. I'm trying to remember. Um, yeah, it's like 26, like 25 minutes. There's 26 minutes. There's a fight that breaks out. They catch on to Higgins. So now you're kind of engaged, supportive. Thresh is no longer there, and really nice use of the glacial prison there by Avalon to kind of put them in a bad situation. Get a couple picks, and it just turns into a Baron. And from there, they're able to kind of just force down the turrets. And I don't remember how much they get off of this Baron, but they definitely get a lot. Like so they get 2 inhibitors with the Baron plus inhibs, or no, I mean turrets plus inhibs, 2 turrets plus inhibitor, and then they just take the Baron buff up top. I think it expires, but they just push in still and play for the turret, and they get a fight. And I don't know if they end the game on triple inhib or if they just get triple inhib and force a fight outside of the Nexus and then in the game. I can't remember exactly. We get scroll in, but um, it might just be the ending play there, like the 29 to 30-minute mark there, where they kind of just dive them under the tier 2. I start poking them out, and they had to just deal with these
Yeah.
minions, and they just can't. You know, the Baron buff's still up for a little bit longer. You got Ziggs obviously that can just break turrets anyways. So you're kind of forced to make a play, and I want to say that's what they exactly that's exactly what they do. They try to make a play. Turret gets absolutely obliterated on the back end. Noah's sent packing, and then your only frontliner now is Thresh. So good luck playing. And
Yeah.
I think this will be my last take before we go to game 3. Is I don't really think Azir had great stuff to set him up anyways. Like Pantheon is not really the pick with Azir, so Thresh is fine.
Mm.
It's just not like an issue. Rumble existing in the game is fine, but I think you need another. I think you need a true frontline pick, because Thresh is like a pseudo pick for that, but he's more appealing.
I tend to agree. I think if you're committed to the Pantheon early in the draft, then I Azir is okay, and I actually do like Azir Ashe, just because they're both really good at keeping somebody at arm's length. The Ashe slows really help out Azir's damage,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's I want something tankier than either the Pantheon or the Thresh. Um, if you want the early game pressure from the Pantheon, then get rid of the Thresh because he is pseudo frontline, but he went Glacial Augment Redemption first. He's not. I don't really even think he's considered into the front line.
yeah,
Yeah, you got Locket second, but by then you're super far behind. So
agreed. Well, we'll jump into
yeah,
game 3. This one, Femboy is now after getting that game 2 victory, they're gonna end up picking up this game 3 victory as well and go up 2-1 and kind of turning the tides on Instinct. And it was one of those really interestingly slow games. It was not a high kill game. Um, I think Instinct got a very strong pick in Wukong, and though I do think Wukong's very strong and J4B the second strongest jungler or first strongest jungler, however you want to look at it, at this point to a degree, Xin Zhao's still was in a good spot. And I do like him in a both J4 and Wukong if played properly, because the idea is you disengage the Wukong with the alt, the Crescent Guard, right? So you kind of defend the team. And Turris, a few times, effectively did that. And when you're able to do that, and the Wukong now burns his, you're kind of trading alts. I think I like Jinzhao more in the extended play than I would like the Wukong, right? Wukong's all about that Cyclone. It's all about that trickery with his W. He's all about those snap engages. Jinzhao is like, I can still play front line even without my alt. I'm a little more susceptible to getting popped, but in this game, there's nothing that's gonna pop him really. I mean, what's gonna really kill him? Maybe Bessa, Talia, like full, like just using everything on him when you have to deal with a Syndra and a Sivir, right? Like you can't ignore these picks, or even the Jax. Um, and with that said, Jax Noah, like he didn't have a crazy good game, but he was doing really nice things up top side of the map. Um, but yeah, but the biggest thing was me was I don't know why we picked Seraphine. This was the craziest pick of the entire series to me. I don't mind Seraphine in some places, but why here? For what? Like, you end up being into the Sivir Morgana, which is not even great for the Seraphine. Leona got counterpicked. It's like, man, this Seraphine just has no value in my opinion. So I was shook by the pick.
Like for me, if I see a Seraphine, I feel like you kind of already know going into the draft that you want Seraphine. A reactionary Seraphine pick isn't great here because if you're telling me on instinct side, hey, we're probably going to look at a Seraphine comp since we have a wiggle room for a game to give and we want to play something a little unique here, then don't B1 and Bessa, give the Zinzao, like take that away. Because if you're now talking about Zinzao, maybe B2 the Mbessa after what they pick, Zinzao and Bessa with Seraphine behind them sounds like a fucking nightmare to deal with. Like both of those champions love enchanters so much
I agree.
that
I don't think Wukong hates
it's
enchanters, by the way, but I do think
I
Jinzhao
don't think
doesn't mind it at all. He really likes it.
like Wukong, like let's be honest, any champion loves an enchanter. Don't get me wrong, but like Xin Zhao and Mbessa like become Thanos with certain enchanters. Seraphine being one of them because they go forward, they lengthen her ult. She's grouped up with everybody, so her heals and shields get improved onto a champion that dives the back line, has a shield herself, and Xin Zhao, who's basically immortal once he presses R against certain comps, which this is kind of one of them. So, yeah, I think Seraphine picks need to be more planned out. Um, and this was more of like a reactionary Seraphine, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of it because now if the Seraphine ever gets behind, what's killing this Xin Zhao, especially with Morgana?
Yeah, I agree. I agree there. It's gonna be hard to kill him, and that was the point. Like the Seraphine just ends up coming off so strange. Um, and the Syndra, man, oh my goodness, the Syndra was absolutely disgusting. Once he got his scaling up, man, he was one popping everything. And there was a play where I think he got the team was jumping on him, and he's like, "Well, I'm probably dead here." Looked at the Seraphine, one popped the Seraphine, died, but it was like, okay, well now your Seraphine's gone, and we still
Yep.
have Jinzhao, Jax, Sivir, so good luck. Like it was one of those situations. Um, I think Good Boy and Ririka here. A Good Boy and Ririka. It sounds so funny. Good Boy and Talia. Well, they were playing each other. Good Boy and Talia was fine. I think his Talia pick is really really strong, but I don't really know like where the Talia really wants to go on this map. I mean, he doesn't mind going top, but like it definitely doesn't really want to head bot side. So the early Talia plays aren't really there as much as they normally would be. On top of that, I was talking about Nova having a crazy play. If you go to the 8 minute and 15, 15, like 8:15 ish, you're gonna see a crazy double kill, an absolute nuts double kill. I don't know how Noah pulled this out, but it was the grass proc plus the W. It was pretty nasty. So yeah, there's just really not a lot of spots for the Talia to go. Uh, and mind you, again, this was a really low score game. 17 kills to 9. It was not insane. So like some of the action you're seeing in the early game is some of the only action we get for like 10 or not 10 minutes, maybe like 5 6 minutes before like another objective fight. That's what this game kind of became. Uh, very
Oh my lord.
yeah, dude. So like
That was the fattest auto I've ever seen at 8 minutes
yeah,
when he
yeah, yeah,
flashed
dude.
smacked Good Boy. Oh
Yeah.
my lord.
So like
Okay, he's got a big enough light post.
yes. So Noah like he's like if you look at the score, it's 3-3-3, right? It's nothing insane, but like that little play right there, that little micro play that happened, like you got to imagine if you're the side of instinct, like you're like face palming, right? And now your Mbessa is 1-4 at one point, unplayable game for the Mbessa, pretty much out of the game completely. You have a Seraphine who like doesn't really do that much, so you really needed your Mbessa to be kind of strong. Um, and your Talia is not really popping off either. It's such a hard game, and all they had to do on the side of Femboys from this point on was almost do nothing, and they just win. You know, so obviously they still do stuff, but they don't. They're not forced to like force things. As long as they're keeping up and the major objectives they need, the Drakes obviously, they're fine. And it's hard for them to contest on the side of Instinct once this Goldie started to get acquired. So
Oh my lord, you got another solo kill. Okay, so the meme that was posted in the chat after this what makes way more sense now.
yeah, he was
Quit fighting. I
this
got
man
this.
this man was brawling up there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's a pretty quiet game. I know there was a bit of an Otacon fight, which we can discuss a bit. Kind of flip to it here. Uh, or if there, at least I swear there was an Otacon fight. Maybe they got shades
There's
right now.
always an Otacon fight.
There's always an Otacon fight. Yeah. So Avalon, he tries to look for a play here, gets caught out, and just get completely popped. So it's not like a true Otacon fight. It's a pick into them just kind of pushing them out and getting pretty much a free Otacon. I don't even remember if they can test. But like it's stuff like this, like these little micro plays out of out of the team, and Instinct kind of making these mistakes was costing them. And then Noah, you know what else Noah did this game? He created space like a monster. There was countless fights where he's like edging with Flash, 200 HP in the middle of 5 or 4 of them, and just flashing away. Well, if team is doing a Drake or team is doing a Baron or whatever, like his job this game was to be as much of a nuisance as he could be. It was rather impressive. I'm trying to remember what Drake it was. There's literally a specific Drake that happens where he's just like duking it out with like their entire team.
I'm seeing him kind of 3v1 here at 24 minutes. It looks like, is he gonna fall here? He's not. Oh my lord. And then Ririka shows up and just pops somebody. Yeah, you got Avalon.
Oh yeah, they sent 3 down to him. Yeah, that
For
was
the
a play.
Baron.
Yeah, that was a play. Yeah. That's one of them. I think the fifth Drake of the game might have been the other play where he's like on the other side of Drake Pit of the wall, and he's fighting in that little corridor by that bush by Red Buff, and he's just like tanking everybody. He's like, "You cannot take me with you."
I just watched the Ririka play you're referring to at 26 minutes where he took Seraphine with him to the colorblind mode. So,
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy fun game. Oh yeah, and then Ririka thinks he can just face tank the team. That
yeah.
was the one. He's like, I think I'm Jax too. No, you're not Jax. He gets away with the kill, but he almost dies in the
Oh,
buff
okay.
trade. Yeah.
28 minutes I think is what you're referring to where Noah was Thanos. Oh my lord, and he flashes out and lives. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, that's
Like
probably the play.
Ririka has a fantastic score line, and he's putting in a lot of work. He's always out of the few mages he was showcasing last couple splits. Syndra was always one of them, but Noah's the true like hero here. This is Anya's third. Okay, yeah, this man is Thanos, and just go where I go, please.
Yeah, freaking insane, man. Smart Zanya's too. Like to have that. So he probably shouldn't have lived, but I mean, here we are, man. Here we are. What a guy. So and then a little bit after that, we get ourselves a little bit of a battle in the mid lane, and that kind of just ends the game. A couple picks, and they're able to just walk it down, take out the rest of the team, and it's GG. And what is a really slow pace, but actually really exhilarating game three. Like it was definitely fun. There was a lot of a fun little skirmish action. You don't need a lot of kills to have a good game. Obviously, we've experienced that like 7-2 kill game last split. I think it was. Those are not fun. I don't think you get one big fight and that's your game. Like nobody wants to watch that type of league, but this type of game, it's like it keeps you on edge while not being too much of a shit show. Would be probably the best term. It's like real League of Legends, basically.
So, so, side note, try casting those games after you get done with like a bloody kill and a half a minute game. Good lord,
I
so
know.
boring sometimes.
So we'll get into game four. Now, game four features, to my knowledge, and I'm just gonna put it out there, the only pentakill I know of. I'm already gonna put that out there. I'll wait. I'll wait till at least talk about the pentakill, but this is the only pentakill we've got.
It's not hard to figure out who it was on.
Yes, it was on Eclipse. So, anyways, no, I'm not gonna tell you who it was. Okay, it was
Yeah,
on.
with the 18% of his team's damage, he managed to get a pentakill.
Yes,
Got
it
it.
was. It was Avalon. Avalon got a penta. It was an assist penta, but it was a penta. But
I've seen a Rel get a pentakill, so
yes. But yeah, so this game we ended up with ourselves a really fun. I think draft from both teams. Ririka going back for that Aurora, and this is the Aurora game I was talking about, and he will probably gladly tell you it was not his. It was not his game. He was having some fun, and it wasn't the right kind of fun. But good boy, man, on this Mel. I don't know if he saw Faker just pull it out, and he's like, I'm pulling it out too, or what was going on. But man, this guy absolutely popped off on the pick. Um, Made everybody look silly on the side of Femboys. Noah, unique pick here with the Nocturne top. It actually didn't do too bad into the Kled, especially early on in the game. But the most glaring pick, and I'm not even a fan really of the Senna. I don't mind it. I'm not a fan of it. It works. But the thing that really threw me for a whirl, and probably my least favorite pick, all the playoffs so far, honestly, is the Vayne. We talked about those other two series, but this one has to be my least favorite ever. I just don't like it. I know that Mac was even talking about it in the chat where he's like, no, it should pop off here because it does this. This might be true, but if you're gonna pick Vayne, then I think you pick Lulu, and Higgins ended up picking Karma, which our prize was like leaning Lulu. Like it was just pick the Lulu, make the Vayne harder to kill, buff her up, make her just freaking Thanos, like you say. But no, it made the Vayne pick even look worse with the Karma pick. I don't think the Karma pick had as much value, and yeah, it was a game to say the least.
uh,
It was the good boy show. It was the good boy show we all been waiting for.
yeah. Going back on this Vayne pick, I in the grand scheme of things, looking at the champions it's against, I can understand what Mac is saying. Like it does pop off here. The problem is the champions you surround her with. Like there is nothing but like go in buttons and chaos, and the Vayne just has no peel, no time to do anything, and you just cannon fodder, especially if this Mel gets off the ground, which did. Nocturne has kind of been a low key legacy counter pick in the Kled. If he ever lands the Q, you spell shield the pullback, and you just basically all of laning phase, you have a 25% attack speed steroid. So you just beat the shit out of Kled. And so that was interesting. I don't know if they expected this Nocturne to go top, but obviously it's some tech that no one knows.
Yeah,
And
it was smart.
yeah, it was cool. I
Um,
mean, I'm 3 minutes in, and you can already kind of see where this is going on the
yeah,
top lane.
No, absolutely. He was doing well on the pick. I think he did like it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. I wasn't hating on the pick when I mentioned it. It was just something unique, so I brought it up. Turris man had a really nice game early on. Was able to get this Skarner was completely out of the game. Completely out of the game. Got not only three buffed but lost Raptors as well due to him dying. Was so far behind off that invade. But what the Skarner decided to do was like, hey, you know what? I'm behind, but I'm just going to gank. And I think he just went on a ganking mission, and that was the best thing he could do. Now, um, I want to say that not every gank was like netting all the positives. Like that first gank, it ends up being a 1-for-1 play, and it's looking like Ririka might pop off because he's getting some kills, you know. But the thing was, Good Boy had a farm lead, and that was the big thing, right? That 10 CS lead, he was doing pretty well and for himself. So the kills were kind of evening out, right? And almost it was almost nice that Good Boy died because the Avalon got to collect the wave, which he kind of needed on that mid play. But yeah, he just went on a
Yeah.
ganking mission. He's like, I'm behind in camps. The Trundle's going to kind of out farm me. Let me see what I can do to set up my team, play for objectives, play for ganks. And he slowly, surely got himself back into the game. Um, but man, it just every play and every fight was just if Good Boy got to do the free plays, the free hits, he just completely was just it was disastrous. If you come over here, we'll go a little further ahead in the game. Talk about like 13 minutes in. Good Boy's level 11 to level 9 on Ririka, you know. So it's looking pretty scary and pretty hard for that Aurora pick to really do anything. And obviously Mel is going to be happy to play into most of these champions on the side of Femboys.
Yeah, I actually don't have much experience playing that matchup. But now if I see a blind pick Aurora into me, Mel looks really freaking good. I think I was talking to the coin flip guys after their series, which we'll get to after this, and one of them noted that if you reflect the QW from Aurora, then you can actually get a pullback on from Mel as well going towards this. So you basically block like your whole combo,
Yeah,
which is again quite interesting. It's not a matchup I've played that often as a Mel enjoyer.
yeah,
So,
and
but yeah, this is Mel's wet dream as far as trying to free hit. Like, yeah, you got the Nocturne, but you have Senna healing you and buffing you on the side, and then exhaust on Don Don. Like, if you just stand close to Mel, you're never you're never gonna be threatened by this Nocturne at all.
yeah, and I want to say they even tried to um, shut down Good Boy a couple times, and it just was not working. No matter what they did, no matter what they tried, it just wasn't enough. Um, and I mean, you can look at plays where like you see Nocturne flying in, even if he's able to get the kill, like the trades they're going advantage of instinct. You know, yeah, you kill Good Boy, but what does that matter if he still gets a couple kills on the way out and his team picks up gold, right? And so shutting down the Mel was a priority, but it just was a priority that did not matter in the scheme of things because he just was too far ahead, man. Uh, but yeah, fight after fight, and honestly, I think I would have loved to seen the Nocturne roam a little more on doing that at different timers. Um, would have been great. And Noah was trying to a degree, but like playing the late against the Clyde, it's like you got your advantage, but like you're not going to win the game by completely shutting down this Clyde no more once that Mel got too big, right? So buy experimental hexblade and just send it mid every time you get ults. Literally, that's what I would have done
Mm-hmm.
and pray. But it became too late. So I'm trying to figure out exactly when the pentakill happens. I don't remember. So
Mm.
I'm gonna find it for you. It's at a Drake or an Otacon play. So did I miss it? I think I missed it. I'm gonna go further back. Maybe it's. Let me see when his kill score jumps up. Okay, it's this play. So we're talking about 18, 19, probably about 19 minutes. Yeah, 19 minutes is when the play happens. It looks like, or like 20 minutes. It's around when Otacon is spawning on the map. I wasn't sure, but that's what it looks to be. And I think this
Oh
is,
my
yeah, this is the
lord.
play. This is the point where the game, if it wasn't already over, pretty much, with that 4 lead, it's this play, and it's absurd because I mean, everything that was layered on top of it, the the AOE from the Senna ulti, from the Nautilus, all of it on like that little clump, the little pocket, and then you get the little rockets coming in from the Meld Q, and it's just like, okay, what just happened? And then Good Boy comes in with a TP. It was so beautifully executed. They're able to get a Drake. They're able to get the Otacon, and this was the biggest stomp of the series, by the way. Like the games are close. This game was not close. This was absolutely just um, like takeover game. Once this happened, there was nothing that they could do on the side of Femboys. Um, they tried to fight back, but they pretty much just fought a Baron at 25 minutes, lost the fight, and I'm pretty sure it was GG. And I think they're the ones that start. Yeah, they're the ones that started the Baron. Like it was a Hail Mary play, and I think it's the right play. You just send it because you kind of have to. And they almost
Yeah.
they almost got it. I mean, it was really really close. In fact, they might have even ended up smiting it down. I can't remember. No, they don't. Never mind.
No, Vayne got it.
Vayne ended up getting, but it just didn't matter. Everybody
Yeah.
died. The whole team died. So um, they don't end the game off of that, but a few minutes afterwards, they just kind of walk in. They don't need a Baron buff, I think, to end the game. They can just walk at them. They win a fight, and it's just GG.
Yeah. Yep. This oh my god, fully stacked my eyes too after all that. Like, yep. Yeah. This is the instinct and the good boy we know of. And yeah, this Mel pick was so good.
Yeah, I mean, and
So,
I think Ririka was doing fine enough to keep it down early, but there's too much trading. Way too much trading. You don't want the Mel to kind of get trade kills back.
well, she's a fairly like underrated early game bully. You can't exactly just like throw an early game champ at her. If she plays it right, she can definitely um, do some work early game. Because remember, like early game, you're playing with only what 80 or 85% of your health bar, depending on the passive stacks. So yeah, yep, this was a stomp and a half.
Yep. So after that stomp, we get to Game Five and the final Game Five of our show today. Don't worry, guys. We're only 2.5 hours in with one more series to talk about.
Oh my lord.
CLT is losing it. Hey, but we're giving you guys the best content we can. So this last game, Femboys able to pick it up in what was a pretty quick win. I'd want to say it was a similar stomp to game four, but the difference was it was just a little quicker. But I don't think it was as stompy. It was more just the game ended. Like it just ended in the blink of an eye. And I want to say there was some sort of fight where it was like they were near the Nexus, so they were able to do so. Uh, good end angle, but yeah, they didn't even need a Baron to end. And you could just see Instinct ran out of gas. It's shades of the finals last split. Which makes you worry about Instinct. And I know I've mentioned this to you before. This was my concern with Instinct. Did they learn from their mistakes last split? And so far, the answer to that question, based on this series, is no. They have not learned. They haven't grown some pulls on some of their players, and they haven't mentally become able to get past maybe what could be some bad performances and bad games throughout the series. You just have to accept that it's going to happen, I think, and just play through it. And I think Femboys, they're able to do that. Like Ririka didn't have a great game 4-5 overall. I mean, game four was obviously really rough, but he performed in game five enough to win. And he even talked about it to me. He said that they planned for this Nivea pick. They picked around it. They took the Cassiopeia to counter it, and they kind of pulled in the Rise to trick them into the Nivea pick, and then sent the Rise top lane. The Rise was able to play pretty well into Arctic's Poppy. They probably did trade well too. I don't think Arctic looked too bad up there, but man, Higgins, I did all the stuff saying I didn't like this Blitzcrank here overall, but he popped off, man. He looked so good. He just got hook after hook after hook after hook, and Angel Boy just was the beneficiary of all that, and this Caitlyn was just one tapping kids. So this was the Angel Boy we were talking about. You set him up, man. He'll knock him down. So what do you take here? Anything in particular?
Um, I mean, I do remember this is the game I watched the most because I did watch this with the coin flip guys on here. The draft, I thought Femboys lined up this draft beautifully, as you noted. Rise baiting out the Anivia pick and then into Cassio. Uh, it's a pretty good matchup for Cassio, especially the phase rush variant of Anivia. It's very hard for her to proc it on the Cassio because she can stay at a little further arm's reach. Electrocute Anivia can kind of fight back a little bit, but this Rise going top, I remember Noah did end up getting a solo kill. The Nefiri jungle stood out to me as like something I don't see that often, but I I don't know how I feel about it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think it
I
was a
I
great spot for it, and we kind of talked about it a bit too. I wasn't gonna bring it up too much because I don't think it was like horrible or anything. It didn't have enough value here, man. Best case scenario, you one shot Caitlyn, and once you one shot Caitlyn, then you maybe can kill other people in this game. Into Rise, it's okay. Into Cass, it's not easy. Blitzcrank, it's whatever. It's Blitzcrank. And same thing with the Volibear. But like the odds are, you're just not free killing anybody. You're gonna work for every kill you're gonna get as an Inferi this game. Um, so it just didn't pan out, and I will say I think Avalon picking it shows the prowess of saying I'm gonna try to take over this game for us guys. I like that. I respect that as a jungler. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't hate the pick. I just don't love it. It's just one of those things. You tried, right? You put it out there, and maybe this is where they learn. And Avalon just plays something else in a game five situation, and
Mundo.
maybe yeah, Mundo. I mean, Mundo would have been great here. Obviously, Mundo's just OP in game five. Read the manual. Read the
Yeah.
manual, buddy.
Yeah,
But yeah,
RTFM, Mundo. Good.
yes, Mundo good. But yeah, I don't think there's a lot to talk about with this game though. Because it was still kind of a stomp, right? Like I said, game four might have been the best stomp. I don't know. It's pretty close. This game five was definitely close to that. It just ended quicker. Like that's about it. And it ended quicker. I had to find out what exactly happened, but I'm pretty sure like there was a fight near the Nexus, man. It was just like, well, we're by the Nexus, we could just walk it down. Like we could just walk it down. Like
Yeah.
it's a GG. So
Yeah.
when you
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like this is there isn't much to talk about when you got a late game solo laners that are already starting to get out of control. 12 and a half minutes we're seeing already stacks on Roa. Tiers half to three quarters stacked already. There's just not much you can do.
yeah, it was
Avalon's
it's hard, like you said. There's not much you can do,
yeah,
and they get soul
yeah.
too. By the way, it's a infernal soul. So yeah, they had two inhibitors down. They catch a pick onto Avalon, at least Ririka does, and then at that point it's like, well, we're gonna look for them guys. Terrorists are gonna drop us all
I
on the
would
turrets, and they just end the game. Like,
I would I would argue that even if you swap out Nefiri for Mundo, literally the Mundo could go top or jungle and swap with Poppy because I think when you have Cassio mid, you can do the wall combo with Poppy jungle to set up.
yeah,
Nivea can set that up too. I just yeah, this Nefiri pick is just going on a suicide mission. That's all he's doing.
yeah. Then it didn't work out, man. But it was a banger series overall. We got our pentakill, and I suspect we'll more than likely see this matchup one more time. Um, I suspect
Mhm.
it, and we'll get to why I think that in a bit. But let's jump into the final series, so me and COT can keep our sanity and be alive, and maybe finish this before 10 o'clock and get this uploaded for
Yeah,
you
I gotta
guys.
work tomorrow.
Same. So we'll jump into Hidden Leaf versus Coin Flip. You know this stuff. I'll let you talk about it. So go ahead and take her away.
I was super excited for the series, especially casting it. These are two teams I know very, very well. I've played some Flex with Coin Flip and obviously subbed for the Hashira, two teams I very, very highly respect. It's two teams we also scrimmed the most earlier in the season before everything went down. So I did not want to pick either team here, but I was very excited. Game one, it felt like you could already see what the Hashira was doing. They leave the Ivern up, which anybody who watched their week 5 matchup knows that Matthias's Ivern sat back and watched why Daisy just decided to beat everybody's ass like it was 2xKO. Uh, yeah, they took the Ivern away, which is not an Akuza pick. Akuza is really, really good at brawling, fighting, skirmishing, like just plain overall aggressive. I think him and Guillaume in the mid can definitely 2v2 is good. If not, I would argue a little bit better than Arresto and Brandino, because those Brandino specifically really likes to fight. So uh, the Ivern was a weird, wacky pick, and then pairing that up with the Rise, you have your mid jungle or two like slower paced champions to where Coin Flip had the Pantheon, had the Syndra. This R5 Malphite was secretly really, really good into the Gnar. It's always been kind of a pseudo legacy counter pick that Gnar wins early, but I know Matthias ended up going a little bit of AP in the first item or two and fought back against Giyu quite heavily. The big story about this game one was the early game. Brandino did get a nice invade early, but got punished when he went for more on this bot lane set of double Krugs here. The bot lane for Hashira really punished him for it. First blood went over to the bot lane, and Geopow, I think, does he get out here? No, he doesn't. So yeah, you've got 2 kills onto the bot lane, but then here, and I'm at the 4.5 minute
Yeah, I was just
if you're
watching that a
tracking
second
this.
ago. The insane
Bori played
Bori,
this.
yeah.
Bori just going straight playoff Bori mode here on the Zaya with some help from the minions. Don't get me wrong, but I think the thing that really really stood out was every time there was a shield uh, from Akuza from his Ivern, he always target swapped over. So, oh yeah, and he had red buff too. Wait, did he? Yeah, he did get red buff. It was a red buff transfer from Brandino that ended up also helping him out with the burn and the slows. So, yeah, Bori ends up backing with an early BF and call on top of that. So, the thing that we said in our predictions was going to be kind of the bot lane of Coin Flip versus the top side of Hashira, and Bori was already looking pretty good.
Yeah, that was the exact take from everybody, pretty much. But yeah, Bori definitely coming out, and he performed well in the first week of playoffs. Certainly here stepping up even more, and I know Hashira, the members that I talked to definitely mentioned that, like, man, this guy just is something, right? He just turns into something, and he took off. Like, they felt pretty good about the series overall, but Bori was just I forgot how they put it, but it was just like they had the warrior or something like that. I forgot what he said, but it was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, he just when he's on, man. And right now he's starting to turn into him again. He's
Hmm.
he's our faker of our league at the moment, at least in this current last couple
At
years.
AD for sure.
Yeah. Right. So he could be on his way to a third chip. He couldn't do the three-peat. Well, Faker couldn't do the three-peat the first time either. So, but he's on that trajectory. We'll see him again in 10 years or something, right? Uh, so yeah,
Well, Bori originally did it with his boys, and now he rebranded the coin flip. So
well, he did
you
it.
never know.
he did it twice, and then when he came back one more time with the boys in the jungle, he couldn't get the three-peat. Was my point. So he's
Yeah.
about to get the 3 and 4 years type setup, which is what Faker did. And in this case, it's 3 and 4 splits. So,
Yep.
um, but when I say he's about to, he's not going to guaranteed, guys. That's not what I mean. But that's the trajectory that he could be on.
Could win 2 out of 3 splits in this
Yes,
calendar year, actually.
yes, he could. He certainly could. 2 out of 3. No, he'd win 1 out of 2. Reckley wouldn't count for him.
No, I thought I was okay. So the one split kind of bled into January.
What split? No, no split did. No, did winter
We'll talk
split?
about it later.
Did
Yeah, I thought it was like fall into winter.
no? Oh no, it was like winter. I was just straight winter. We started like in like November or something, didn't we? Either which way, it
We're getting
was.
sidetracked.
You were getting sidetracked for sure, but like it,
That
it,
was
it
me.
ended this year, but it's a 2024 split, buddy. We don't count it. We don't count it. Okay.
Oh, I count
No, it's not 2 out of 3 splits this year. It's one.
it.
It's 1 out of 2. It's 1 out of 2 if he wins.
Well,
Anyways, the most important thing is what else happened in this game, CLT. You're getting sidetracked, and this is why the freaking thing will last 4 hours today.
look, that's the first time I've sidetracked this in 2.5 hours. I'm impressed, actually. That's a record low.
He's fired.
Oh, I'm fired. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna scroll on through a little bit. This is a tight series so far. I'm at 12 minutes. It's 21-21, in gold, 21K. Drake's obviously advantage going to coin flip, uh, but it's definitely a pretty close game. No one has feats at this point in the game either. So the game is pretty tight. The Drakes are really the only thing that's separating the two teams. So what is kind of like that breaking point that you remember?
Um. God, let me skim through this and try to remember because we've talked about quite a bit. There was a decent fight at roughly the 9.5 minute mark. Well, actually, a decent sequence altogether because I forgot. Yeah, Matthias gets the solo kill up top, and then we have the Bard ult coming out, hitting up Deborah Morgan, and then after that, it got comboed with Brandino, and it just started to snowball from there when they got underneath the tier 2. Now, I do remember the TP afterwards where they ended up getting, I think, a kill onto the Rise, and he did walk away from this. Actually, they got a double here, so they did have a lot of really, really good responses to what Coinflip threw at them,
Mm,
but overall, Coinflip just really was proactive, and I thought that was the big difference in this game. They always just ended up throwing the first punch, and at the end of the game here, it just ended up becoming too much. Rise was kind of the saving grace. Guillaume had himself a really, really quiet, good Rise game. But the rest of the map, especially the bot lane got picked on so much here.
yeah, I mean the game was tight. I mean the 9.5 minute play was definitely good, but I mean, even after that, the game was staying pretty close. I'm looking, and I guess it's just an Otacon fight. It's always an Otacon fight nowadays. That really starts to balloon the gold lead. Gets them back to about 3. Working on almost 4K based on them getting some turrets afterwards. Definitely will grow it a bit. But yeah, I mean that's usually seems to be the backbreaker. And then with them having such an early access to Soul, and they get that at what, like about 24 minutes, 23 and a half minutes. It's Infernal Soul, so it isn't like completely the most broken soul of the game, but it's gonna buff up the damage heavily. And oh my god, what a Bard ult out of freaking Geoprow! They don't utilize it. They don't fight with it, which is crazy. Where's the Malphite ult off the freaking ult? But it does slow the push a little bit, which is nice because they really just wanted to play for the objective. Oh, Malphite tried to cancel the Rise ulti. Oh man, the macro play actually out of Hashira was actually so intelligent here. They knew they couldn't access
Oh,
the soul. That was crazy.
that's that's right. That's right. I do remember that one now. Yeah, this is starting to come back to me. Yeah, the Rise Realm Wart to get the inhib up top was pretty insane,
Yeah,
honestly, for a macro play.
Yeah.
This for being all of these games, you're gonna see that coin flip definitely got what's the word I'm looking for? They got counterpunch thrown at them in the early game, and most of the time, it went Hashira's way. It just felt like the amount of pressure onto the bot lane, and also just Bori being him this series is is what really made coin flip successful.
Yeah, it's what breaks the bank for sure. So
Yeah.
I will let the game kind of play out here, as it looks like we get ourselves a fight here at the end at 26 minutes. They want to contest Baron, but it's so hard to do so. You're walking into Malphite. Good luck. And they're able to walk it down mid. Maybe if they were able to stall the soul out, or maybe if they were able to just like stall the game a little longer and maybe play for Elder Flip instead of the Baron. I know like you want to contest it, you want to fight it, but they have the Baron. I think you just try to play through that. But also, and this is my last thing of noting before we move on, it's Jinx. Like I don't know about the Jinx pick, man. I'm not gonna get into it, but Jinx in game one of a series would be my big take. But we'll jump into game two because I don't want to stay stuck on that. You've already discussed most of the comp stuff, so I will let you jump into game two.
Game two, I thought Hashira actually drafted quite well. Um, Arresto is the only Swain player in the series, so having the Silas pick kind of in the back pocket, I thought was really smart. You ban out his Anivia. He is also the added Anivia player in the server outside of myself, but he plays the birds quite well between Swain and Anivia. So I thought the Silas pick was fantastic. Um, the the Vayne pick though is the one thing I was super worried about because you absorbed so much pressure in game one, and Bori is, I would probably say, the best AD carry left in the split. I maybe the best of the whole league, um, in that regard. So picking a Vayne Leona lane into Bori is pretty ballsy. I will say them banning out the Nilo was pretty smart overall, but this B5 Corki was quite impressive from Bori. Again, Guillaume going into the game with the Silas played off of the Swain ult really well. Swain did get a couple of early kills, which kind of lengthened the storm that he could take from Silas. Uh, but yeah, Silas will end up outscaling him quite heavily. There was a nice 2v2 at around the 5 minute mark where they ended up going 2 for 0 against Brandino and Arresto, which started to trend the game into their favor. There's just, to me, nothing that stalls this game out to make sure the Vayne gets online. That was the one thing I noted where, yeah, Guillaume's doing well. Mordekaiser's doing okay. I think he ended up maybe getting a solo kill or got a gank. Akuza's on a champion that he's much more attuned with, but this Vayne pick got behind yet again and just couldn't really do anything in these team fights.
Yeah, Vayne's just a trap pick, bro. I just honestly just avoid picking it. I could see Vayne maybe game four, game five, because to be honest with you, it's gonna be funny because like I think if we talked about like the game back in season three, four, five, six, what I'm about to say would not be true at all. But I think Vayne and Jinx are like a similar champion to me now. Yeah, their kits are different, but like they both do the same thing. They both hyper carry, and they need stuff to set them up to hyper carry. They need peel, and they need, uh, you know, they need like a good team around the champ. You know, the only difference is there's a little more reliable self peel with condemn over maybe chompers and zap, and a little more mobility. So that's why there is a difference in the champion. Understand that part. It's just the idea of how they want to play now, and I would still argue Jinx is the better pick too. By the way, but Jinx is just better in game four, five, maybe game three, depending. Whereas Vayne, I don't know when she's good anymore. I just don't know that. I'm really not trying to
I
hate as much. Just pair it with the Lulu, and I think Vayne's playable. That's my opinion.
uh I just think overall teams that are drafting these hyper carries, especially with no self peel, unlike say a Zaya, they need to build comps around Jinx, and I don't think teams are doing that right now. Also, you're hating on the Vayne about as much as I hate on Vex right now. It's quite funny.
Oh no, no, I'm not because the difference is you say Vex is just horrible. I don't think actually Vayne is horrible. I haven't figured out where she would go. I think I know where Vex would go. I don't know where Vayne would go.
Yeah,
I think Vayne in game 4, game 5 would be the best spot for her though. Once you get
I
some
do.
picks
Yeah.
out of the bank, and then you have to ban Draven. By the way, ban that champ. You don't want that thing slapping you in the face for free. I don't know if anyone plays Draven in the league, so maybe you don't have to ban it. But I know Draven is obnoxious for Vayne until Vayne scales, right? If she scales, Draven will probably not let you do that. So that's my only take, really. And I just think Jinx is the better version of the Vayne. So if Jinx is available
I would
over
agree. Yeah.
Vayne, I would take Jinx game 4, game 5. But if Jinx is out, or if Jinx is banned, or if maybe there's a better reliable pick that pairs well with Vayne, like again the Lulu over the Jinx, then I'm cool with it. Because I don't think Jinx Lulu is like a required thing. I think Jinx is actually okay with playing it with almost any support. She just wants a team around her that can keep her safe. It's not just a support pick. Like Jinx loves Sejuani, for example. Just loves that shit. Put a Sejuani in front of me, and let me go do DPS. So,
Yep.
um, that's really my only take there.
Yep.
Overall,
I don't
though,
disagree.
the rest of the draft seems fine from Hashira. You know, Silas and his Swain. You've already noted that it's really good for Silas. Outscales it, and it's just good in general. Um, I think Jin Zhao doesn't really love playing into Jax, but it's Jin Zhao. It's a Kazan Jin Zhao. It's cool. The Mordekaiser, which even solo killed the Renekton early, I think it's great. It can make it hard for Swain to play. It can make it hard for Jax and Renekton to also play when he just takes them into the Shadow Realm. And he gets AP off Swain if he kills him. So he's a happy camper if that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's honestly he's very happy in this game too. And then Leona's never bad. I mean, she's always pretty good unless there's like a hard counter. So the draft from Hashira is fine. That's not an issue. I'd even argue Coinflip's draft is a little monkey with the Jax jungle, Brandino. I mean, it's good into Zhenzhou. That's about it. I don't love it. It's fine. I don't love it though. And I think
Uh,
Brandino plays Jax well because he's a top lane player. So you just pick it, just slam it. But
yeah.
doesn't mean I love it. That's all I'm saying. But he's fine. I'm not mad at him for picking it. I'm not gonna like shit talk him or anything. But that's the only pick that sticks out to me on their side.
Yeah. I tend to agree. With all that. So
But yeah, this game is looking really tight and contested, like really most of the series. I mean, I'm kind of scrolling through. 14 minutes in, it's 25k to 24k, 1k gold lead for coin flip. Nothing substantial. The Vayne is falling behind as expected. The Corki is slowly gaining a massive lead, as expected, as we discussed. The question is, when does this gold lead become insurmountable? You know, unplayable. So it looks like there's a nice fight here from the side of Hashira. They're able to start off with a play onto Aristotle, which is like the pre-Drake play after they get Herald, which starts to kind of flip them in their favor before the next Drake. That's what I'm seeing because I saw Aristotle was dead before it started. And what's that, around like 16 and a half minutes? Um, which is actually crazy because is this a 1v2 from the Silas? Jeez Louise. Silas is broken.
I mean, it
Oh
was
my
Swain.
goodness.
Yeah.
They got him low too. They almost killed the Silas here. But yeah, so it's a double kill. You have Herald. You can utilize that to gain an advantage. Drake spawns. You should be able to free hit it, right? Um, without issue. They actually use the top side to just let the Mordekaiser free hit turret a bit, get some gold for himself. Um, Gyu kind of risking it for the biscuit, says I don't care about this Renekton Just gonna fight him anyways. Uh, Interesting. So they're able to acquire that lead. Is there a little fight afterwards? Let's see. I'm trying to watch for it. Oh, Brandino hiding in a bush. He's on a mission. But a nice
There
crescent
was
guard. Oh my god, Akaza just surviving is insane.
yeah. There was a few times where Brandino I kind of thought he was for lack of a better words just sending it and well I mean it's coin flip. He sent it, but a few times there's like he would send it, die, but soak up so many cooldowns that then the rest of the team won the team fight.
Yeah,
We're trying to find one of those moments. I think it might have been in the next dragon fight where he just full sent it top lane in a 5v5. You know what? It might be over Otacon. It's always over Otacon.
yeah, it probably is. And I'm gonna flip to that Otacon fight because I always know there's an Otacon fight. I just know. By the way, how does Hostro lose this game anyways? They're up three Drakes to none. They got a bit of a gold lead. Like they have all the advantages in their pocket. It's kind of crazy.
It was the Otacon fight at
Yeah.
20 minutes 45 seconds
Well, it even starts
was the
before that with a
start.
19 minute where they're able to get two picks on the Leona and the Silas. It starts there. Kind of slows the momentum. Gets the gold lead tied up. But I will watch the Otacon fight now at the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, Guillaume like took Jack's ult and then just kind of sent it in there. And I don't think the rest of the team was on the same page there
Was
as
was
far as the turn.
was the ulti there on the Swain? Could he take Swain ulti?
Not if you're on Jack's ult.
Well, yeah, not at that point. But I'm saying before that, could he just not taken Jack's ulti?
Let me try to see the graphic if I can.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Silas kind of got in there, and you can't face tank them all at that point. But also, like Vayne just can't play either. Like that's the other issue. What does Vayne do? Nearly kills Bore, I
Uh,
guess. That's the Vayne play.
oh, he spawned with the left with the Jack's ult.
Well, that's
So he
unfortunate.
died. He died with Jack's ult in his possession. Or no, he backed, so he didn't get a chance to use it. And then when he TP'd in, he TP'd with Jack's ult.
That is completely unfortunate.
Hmm.
Well, I will. I'll scroll to the end of the game now. That's what I'm thinking because we're going to finish this up here soon, so we can do our predictions and get out of here. How does
Yeah.
this game end? What even happens? What causes the game to end? Let's see. Well, 26, 27. Okay, so there's a pick on Akaza right beforehand. So there's only two people trying to defend bot lane, and that's nearly impossible to do. Even if they kill Matthias, which he actually is able to get a kill, trade one back. Now your Vayne has to try to get reset, and they're just bowling down your Nexus. So yeah, I don't think you want to do that against a team with Baron, plus your jungler being dead. You kind of just have to sack top wave at that point. If your jungler's alive and can help defend the base, it's fine. But yeah, I understand Hashra. They felt the pressure. They had to make something happen. I respect the attempt. Right, so break down game three for me. In the last game of this beautifully long episode, going to be one of our longest in Midwest Weekly history, and damn, I'm here for it. I hope you guys are too.
Yeah, this was another like to me this was the most Hashira draft I've seen. It's got Guillaume on the Akali. Giyu does play a pretty mean Scion, but I think their bot lane was going for a little more stability and just early game pressure, just to try and not get their face beaten in like they had the last couple games. So it's a really solid draft from Hashira, but coin flip yet again, going with a really nice Oriana Nocturne combo, and then you got Bori over the top as well, which is what I think really was the X factor overall here. Uh, from what I remember, Arresto played the lane quite well into this Akali. And Akuza yet again got off a lot of early game pressure, but I feel like the team comp for coin flip, especially with Matthias on the set, being able to just pelt either Jarvan or Sion back into his team, played a big factor
Yeah,
overall. There was a lot of protection, but you can kind of see here, three kills to none off of uh off of this early game here.
yeah, no, for sure. Uh, I think we won. I mean, the drafts are both pretty good. There's nothing wrong with either draft. Um, Ziggs is kind of OP, man. I don't know what to say, and it's in Bori's hands. It's just unfortunate. Caitlyn's not too bad into it. Uh, you know what? Might have not been too bad here though, to be honest, and might have even been better. And you have to pick your poison in spots, but maybe MF. I think like yeah, there's ways to cancel her if you're like sending the Nocturne Ori into the backline or if you're like really hard sending Geoprow. But realistically, if you get really nice setup flanks with the Nico and MF can just be in front of that big front line, there is some beautiful alt angles and you gotta try to peel this Akali as well. So like, man, there could have been some beautiful setups. Other than that, there's really nothing I can really nitpick. I don't think Caitlyn's bad. It's just like maybe the MF angle might have been slightly better. It's not great into Ziggs, but like you said, like you're trying to just play the lane. I get it. Um, but they were able to get advantages nonetheless early on for themselves. I mean, even being up 4 kills. The problem is the gold. It's in good spots. It's on J4, but they're really not shutting down Ziggs. You get to that 10-minute mark, Bori gets a kill, and I think that's where the focus should have been, is really making the Ziggs life as miserable as possible. Because if he is able to get a lead or stay in the game and like be even, the Ziggs will always outscale and be in a better spot than the Caitlyn here. So that's the real issue. You're shutting down set. You're kind of messing with the Oriana a little bit. Great, but the Ziggs you haven't touched, and he is just slowly growing a CS lead, getting plates, and eventually gets a kill, man. So I feel like that's where the focus should have been. Yeah, you do have J4, so ganking Ziggs is not that hard, especially at 6. Um, but I can't blame Akaza for taking what he felt was the freer setup and freer kills and making his front line even bigger. So I can't say I'm particularly mad about that, but uh, I know Akaza said it best. He wasn't able to transition his lead. He kind of talked about it in the chat, and I think you know why he couldn't transition his lead, because he had to deal with the Ziggs that was kind of fed.
Yep.
That's the honest truth. So I don't even think it's he can't transition his lead because he's not good enough. It's the Ziggs got fed and wasn't focused. That was it. That was literally it. And they have the peel. They have Oriana plus Rakan plus Nocturne. The peel is there. So good luck trying to shut down the Ziggs at that point in the game.
Yeah. Yep. Overall, agreed 100% with what you said. The Ziggs was just very, very hard to get on through all the disruption in the sense of Oriana, Rakan, and then you got Nocturne as well. So it was a 3-0 series, but as Brandino noted, it was a very, very competitive 3-0 series with Hashira having just some really, really good early games, but the mid game team fighting where coin flip excels in
Yeah,
is
it's
kind
such
of
a
what
mid-game team
coin flip
fighting,
brought
as
to.
Sean. It's boring scaling as a
Yeah.
player and as the championship is, right? He's scaling. So I think coin flip. Nothing has changed for me through these 2 weeks of play. The early game is still a question, but they've been able to work through it. Is anybody gonna punish the early game enough to win a series against them? I don't know. And at this point, there's a conversation there to be had. They might not be able to do so, but there's still other League of Legends to be played. This is certainly not it. Like this is definitely not all she writes. And all these teams that lost, of these 4 teams, the 2 teams that lost here, we're gonna have another chance. Um, and sorry we didn't really talk too much about this game 3. I think me and CLT are kind of getting ready to get out of here in a second. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into um, the pick'ems part basically and talk about our picks with a special guest coming here in a second. So um, once he arrives, we'll really get in depth. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think overall it's been a great first 2 weeks of the playoffs. When you say so, CLT.
Oh yeah, I love this playoff format. I love the split in general. Like there's so many competitive teams here. Um, no one went winless as far as game, like map score.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's insane. I love this.
Yeah. So with that said, we'll go ahead and bring in our special guest, and our special guest today is going to be Ririka. So yeah, go ahead, Ririka, and go ahead and say hello.
Hello, this is Ririka.
This is Ririka.
Uh,
When's the last time you were on the show, man? I know we've had you at least once, maybe twice.
I think I was in Lord of the Cannons,
So it's been a
if I
while.
remember correctly.
It's been a
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, man. We're glad to have you on the show, and
Thank you for having
hopefully
me.
you'll get to give us some spicy takes. We'll make it even spicier. I was gonna start with your guys' series, but I'll save your guys' series for a second to talk about as far as the pick'ems here. So let
Mhm.
me go to loser stage. So yeah, so for round three here, it's technically considered round three, but it's the loser bracket round one realistically here. Hidden Leaf versus Instinct. Um, I'll let CLT lead off, and then Marika, you can go ahead.
Okay.
uh, okay. This is uh, this is gonna be a good series. I think these are two kind of contrasting style. Well, they're very contrasting styles, and like Hidden Leaf really loves the game to be a little chaotic. They do remind me of Coin Flip a little bit. Uh, in that regard, to where Instinct I think is a little more cohesive as a team. I do think though this matchup will not be super bot lane centric. I think if anything, Don can make a difference down there for Instinct. But both teams really don't rely solely on their bot lanes. I think it's more of the solo laners and the interaction with the jungle. So, in that regard, I think Hidden Leaf's jungle Akuza is going to play a really, really big factor in this. Uh, I'm probably going to say 3-2 Hidden Leaf, but I do think this goes to 5 regardless.
Oh, that's yeah, that's a fair take. Marika, how about you? Do you have any opinions on the matchups or whatnot, or maybe something that you want to highlight for the series?
Sure. I pretty much agree with what CLT said. I don't think bot lane matters this series as much. I think it's gonna be all top side, and yeah, I'm also picking Hashra over Instinct, but I wouldn't be surprised if Instinct beats them. I I just feel like maybe they're mental boomed, or like they got exposed from our series. And yeah, like I said, bot lane's not gonna matter, and I'm picking Hashira's topside over Instinct, unless like what CLT said, unless Don can impact the map and help their topside.
Yeah, I think Don Don would be the person that could definitely impact the map a lot. A lot of times when I
Mhm.
do these these picks, as you guys both know, I kind of break down the individual matchups a little bit before I kind of give my like percentage wise and then the contrasting styles. I do agree there's slightly different styles here in terms of like the flow of the game. I think when you look at Hidden Leaf, we all know it kind of flows through Akaza, right? Like he's the guy that leads the charge, he takes over the game, he sets the pace. On Instinct side, it's generally been through mid lane. The
Mhm.
split, it's still kind of that, but it has been a little different because I think uh, Don Don he's always been a guy that can take over a game, but now he's like stepped up and he's done more to like try to help the team progress. Um, but at that same point, when you look at individual matchups, I think Avo is one of the better junglers that can certainly match into Akaza. Um, as far as matchups go, I still would give the edge to Akaza. Like I think he's just playing out of his mind right now, but it's not like a hard favorite. Like oh, this guy's just gonna take over the game. Um, they played similar but different junglers. Like their similar picks would be stuff like what this they both have played Sejuani in the past, more Sejuani for Avo. They both play like stuff like uh, the meta junglers, the Jinzaos and stuff. But there are some like different picks. I know Avo has stuff like Lilia. I really hope to not see it. I just shredded Lilia, but like it's there. People have been picking that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I haven't seen that champion in a while.
dude, it was played last week and the week before. I
Oh,
don't
was
know
it?
why. And the teams that played it lost. I don't know. But nonetheless, like there is stuff like that that exists. Good boys pool is very deep. How do we
Mhm.
feel about the mid lane pool for Hashira? Do you think that the pool is as deep as good boys?
I think Guillaume has some mages he can play, most notably like the Rise, and I think he's got a game or two on Syndra. I think outside of a few mages, you'll see Guillaume trail more towards like hands check, skill expressive mid laners. I think we obviously know his Yone is pretty goaded, but we've seen some aggressive picks like the Akali and the Silas come out last week where I think Good Boy this split is playing a lot more champions that let the game come to him. Makes me think of a Resto from Coinflip a little bit, where he's just happy to let things happen around him and react to them. To where
Yeah.
Guillaume's like way more proactive with Akaza.
Yeah. How do you feel about the mid lane matchup? I don't know if you've ever played in Hashira's mid laner before, but I know you've obviously played Good Boy multiple times now. How do you feel like that mid lane matchup should probably go? There, Ririka.
Yeah, I don't really have any info about Guillaume, but from what CLT said, he's kind of like me. He plays Akali and Silas Yone.
Hmm.
I I do think those are good picks to throw Good Boy off because if you just do nothing in lane and you leave him unpunished, he'll absolutely create his leads through map rotation and like in the CS department, right? But if you make it a little awkward, he would pull his support and jungle to like um fix his lane or like play around him, and that would create pressure in the bot lane and top lane. Because that's what we did. Especially in game four where I inted a lot, I was drawing a lot of pressure after, and I just didn't respect them, even though my teammates had said that their support and jungle were mid.
Yeah.
So yeah, if Hasha wants to beat Instinct, I would say definitely do what I said. Do not pick do not handshake mages, or you can also do that to like thin out the pool during Fearless. But yeah, I would just say make him uncomfortable.
I don't think anybody wants to go 5 games, so maybe thinning out the pool isn't the option if you don't want to, because Rika's pretty tired of
Oh,
it himself. But
we do.
yeah, I mean that's a good take, and I was gonna actually mention that before you brought it up. I was like, I was thinking like you did a little bit of that. You picked the Azir, which you didn't look as comfortable on the pick. I don't think you looked horrible. You had some nice plays, but it definitely wasn't something you look like you're used to playing as much. But
Mhm.
it was one of those things where like, you know what, you're saying I'm gonna take something away from you, and we'll see what happens. We'll kind of go back and forth, and you guys were swapping, like trading blows and trading games. And I think part of why the game 5 ended up being in your favor was you able to just say I'll sack a game if I have to. We're not trying to lose on purpose, but like, hey, I'll just pick this and we'll see what happens. So that is a very unique thing. I think CoinFlip is the like the pioneers of the idea that at least saying it out loud, we're like, yeah, we'll just sack a game. We don't care. Just pick their champs. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
it's a very smart strategy. As far as the rest of the map goes, though, I think, yeah, Good Boy, I think would be favored mid lane. I think we kind of talked about Akaza there. Top lane, I think, is a pretty close matchup. I'd honestly say it's just a 50-50 swing. I think both top laners are very good. It just probably depends on the matchup. Um, bot lane, I mean, I'd be hard pressed not to just take Don on support in most matchups there. But I think the AD carry is pretty close. I think the AD carry is maybe even Hashira flavored. I don't know. What do you guys think on that one?
I don't really know, man, because I watch Coin Flip Hashira and Bori is just Bori. So it's kind of unfair to judge their ADC off of that series. but I'm sure they're good since they've ended the split um as first seed, right? In their respective group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I mean,
these are
he's definitely, they're definitely, I mean, there's not a bad member on this team, in my opinion. That's not even a question, right? Hashiro definitely got a good unit. What's up? What are you laughing about over there?
Mhm.
no, the fact that it's the loser bracket matchup is the 2-1 seeds.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was pretty hilarious too, actually. I forgot to bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
I
that's,
we're
just
the true we're the true first seed. Joking.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, Eclipse is obviously a good AD carry too, but anybody going up against Bori, and honestly, right now, Mac, aka Angel Boy, your AD carry, it kind of looks, they kind of look foolish sometimes. Those two to me are like the top two AD carries in the league. This split, they've just looked. I think Max had a higher ceiling this split as far as play, but like Bori has that ceiling too, and he's starting to reach that
War is
now.
just him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like he didn't
It's
have that
just
during.
him.
Maybe he was sandbagging the regular season. I don't know. We can ask him, but like it wasn't the same Bori we had seen in previous splits in the regular season. But now he is going to another level. So, but yeah, real quick,
I agree.
I'll bring in Nexus's point here about the Instinct one. I'll give his prediction as well. So he's gonna take Instinct 3-1. He says Akaza's early game leads need to be converted better for Hashira to have a better chance. I think Instinct is great at keeping leads, reliable solo laners, and team fighting. He wants to see Don engage. What worked well for Coinflip was getting the first jump in team fights, and he thinks that'll be key here for both teams as well. So he's going to give slight edge for Instinct lanes, in his opinion, with Akaza being his sole Hashira favored matchup, which is pretty much similar to what all of us seems like we feel. Um, all that said, I think you said 3-2 CLT for Hashira,
The
right?
3-2 Hosher.
Yes. And then what was your pick over there again?
Same as CLT.
Okay, so same with you guys. I probably gonna go Instinct to win this 3-1. I think that's my pick. I think I'm with Nexus on this one. And I think it's a closer matchup than it might sound with the 3-1 set.
Mhm.
I'm going to say like probably like a 52-48 Instinct favored. Uh, but it should be a fun one. And I don't think I'd be surprised with if you guys are correct on Hashira ends up beating Instinct. But I think Instinct is still one of the best teams in this league and has been. But game 5 is where they falter. And I agree with you guys. If it goes 5, I would be on the cast being like Hashira wins this because I, I, I can't trust them in the 5th game anymore. Uh, so yeah, there's our picks there. Let's go ahead and jump over to your series now. And you know what? I'll let you lead this one off.
Uh, what do you want me to say? I don't want to jinx my team.
No, don't jinx your team. I guess it's not about you don't have to just I won't you don't
You
have
don't,
to say the pick out loud if you don't want to jinx.
Okay.
I have
you
it
don't have
already
to give us a score
I
line.
have it already listed though, but you don't have to say it out loud, so you don't fully jinx them. What I will say is, kind of give me what you feel like the matchup kind of looks like. That's what I'll say, without giving any like thing away. Like, what do you see from how CoinFlip plays compared to how you guys play that might favor one side or the other, and just in just your mind, just that's it.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
try.
yeah,
But dude, to be honest, I wanna sit out on this match because I just wanna see the bot lane matchup. I'm serious, dude.
okay.
we,
Mac
you
and
know,
Warrior are like the best ADCs in this league, in my
we could
opinion.
we could have just had those guys 2v2, and First Blood would have given you side selection. I'd have been down to cast that.
Yeah, true, true,
No, but
true.
you said like the Cho'Gath matchup, bro. I was like, nah, not again.
No,
Yeah,
no,
no.
you can
No,
go ahead.
but yeah, I think because we scrim coin flip a lot, and but that was like before the split has started, right? And I think they actually leveled up. Um, as much as I want to say that I'm confident, I still respect them. I think they're a really good team, and I thought they were gonna be the first seed in their group before the split started. Um, I think I think we have to deny Geoprow to make plays, especially with his Leona and Nautilus. and we just gotta make sure that Mac gets enough resources to kind of like carry in team fights, and obviously solo lanes are. I think it's in our favor. I want to say, but yeah, that's just my opinion. It's really hard to say because I know we haven't played them in a while. I know they improve a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well,
think I think that's a fair take though. I mean, because if I were to break it down too, I think always coin flip. The first access point is going to be Geo. Probably he's one of those. He kind of takes over the game with his just like I'm sending it in there with the let me just jump in there guys. But at the same point, you got Brandino too. Like Brandino definitely leads the charge as well. His picks can be a little different because he's not a jungle main. Let's clarify that. But he does play
Yeah,
jungle picks.
play some Mesa
Um,
jungle.
yeah, he plays some best of jungle. But he does play some picks that are going to be meta, right? He's not afraid to pull out a Xin Zhao or to pull out a Pantheon or whatever. Like he'll play the champions. Maybe not as a high level, but he's still someone I respect. I don't think he's a bad jungler. I usually give the favor to the jungler most of the time because I think the jungle main, they've just been playing it so much longer, more consistently, and not really off-worlding to top lane, right? They're playing their jungle, right? And where he's been
Mm.
top lane, and then he off-roles the jungle in solo queue occasionally. But he's definitely good at it. I've played him in solo queue. It's a funny story. But so
You played against him?
yeah, I was playing support. It
Oh,
was me.
what?
It was
That's
me
so
and
funny.
Vic. It was me and Vic. I was playing support, and it was like a D4 D3 game. And he was playing Vi. It was the most ridiculous game, bro. This guy was like, he was playing really really well, but I was on him. Like I just did not let him like move. If I ever found him, he was just locked down. It was so hilarious. And he even talked to me after the game, like, dude, you're just ridiculous, bro. Get out of here. I was like, okay. It was fun though. He played well in that game. Absolutely. But yeah, so if we look at it like from me, I would agree the solo lane advantage, right? I think you into Aristotle, from what I've seen from Aristotle, I've seen enough to know like he's consistent and he's gonna sit back and let his team take care of business, unless he's locking in something to like that actually wins the lane. Then he will definitely pressure. But I don't think he's just gonna like walk in there and be like, "Give me Silas into something of Ririka's and just walk all over you." That just should not happen.
Oh, wait, he plays Silas too, right?
He just pulled it out. I don't know if it's a normal pick for him, but he looked pretty good. He did. That was a pop off game for him, from what I just saw.
Yo,
He
I'm
looked
just saying, give me a Kali Silas matchup or Silas Akali matchup,
okay.
please.
Maybe.
I don't think anybody's signing up to play that against you. Let's be honest.
Hey, we never
Maybe
know.
Hasha is mid laner.
He'll do it.
Hasha's mid laner, maybe, or like Binky from last year, but that's it. Ain't no
Yeah.
one.
Binky does not play a. Oh, he plays Akali, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Send him back. Tell him to come back so he can play it again.
Missing
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so I think the edge would be there for you. As far as top side, I think Matthias is always reliable. He actually has moments he shines where it's like you don't expect him to get this solo kill, but he's more gifted than people probably would expect. At this point, if you don't like know Matthias like that, but he's actually a pretty good top laner after he's actually played it for some time now. I have respect for his top lane. He's gotten much better over the last two splits. But I still think like Noah's like from what I've seen of this guy over the last two splits is kind of cracked. I expect the edge
Dude,
there.
can I just say something about Noah? This guy is. He has no fear.
Yeah,
He plays like the shy. He doesn't care if it's an int as long as he wastes their cooldowns, right?
yeah. He's looked good up
Yeah.
there. I mean, he's looked NT too. I mean, the Rumble game comes to mind, but he's looked good up there overall. Um, and then the jungle, like we kind of go back to the Brandino versus Terrace. I feel like I should give it to Terrace because of who Terrace is, but like at the same point, I don't think it's actually as straightforward. I think Brandino's upgraded a bit, so it might be a bit of like a close to even matchup because Brandino's not afraid to invade either. Both these junglers will just get in each other's faces and invade. So it's really just going to come down to is Brandino smart with his invades because you usually unlock Terrace to do like a free play in the jungle, right? Because you have Prio.
Yeah, with mid prio.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the question mark there. As far as bot lane, I don't know who bot lane to pick. I'm gonna call it a wash for now. Yeah, maybe I'll give Gio the slight edge over Higgins just to make it interesting. But I don't know, man. Higgins has looked good too. It's a damn near wash. So, they both kind of play scaling, but then like they're both not afraid to pick stuff like Kaisa as well. So, man, it's a hard matchup to predict in that regard. So, what is your take, CLT?
I agree with with a lot of what you guys are saying. I think when it comes to the bot lane, it is kind of a wash. If anything, yeah, it goes slight edge coin flip just because of Geoprow, and I haven't seen like max champion pool, but I've seen Bori enough that I think overall it's going to come down to draft, and I think it's just draft across the board because when it comes to Arresto's comfort picks, he lets the game come to him, which is really great considering what Brandino likes to do, and he can play some pretty stallish picks that can just frustrate Ririka because he hates not fighting at all. Um, the Morgana comes to mind, for instance. Uh,
Wait, isn't she nerfed? I haven't been seeing her in comp.
I mean, when you're comfortable with it, it doesn't matter. She still ignores laning phase,
Yeah,
um,
true, true.
regardless.
That's a good
So,
point.
it's like I I think in like games 1 or 2, if coin flip comes in with a couple set drafts, they're going to be really hard to prepare against. But then I kind of give the champ pool diff at later in the series to Femboys in that regard. I think Ririka has a bunch of like different styles, different picks nowadays. He's learning mages, and Arresto hasn't shown the variety of picks. Top lane could kind of be the same thing. I think Noah still has a couple of different picks he hasn't showcased, but he has stuff, like the Rumble, like the York, that
The
traditionally
Nocturne
coin flip,
top.
the Nocturne as well, that coin flip hasn't shown. But I can always trust that coin flip is going to cook a draft, and it's just going to be 50-50 from there, especially in a 5-game series. So
Yeah.
um, it's if coin flip gets what they want, they're a really tough team to play against. But when you start taking champ pools out, especially like think of how contested Aurora is going to be between Ririka and Geoprow. Like
Oh yeah,
it's
Geopro plays
it's
Aurora.
it's well, how do you, bro? Okay, we all know who scouts. But yeah, it's. Is it fair to make my prediction now?
Go ahead, buddy.
All right. I think it's 3-1 Femboys, only because the variety of champions from the solo laners, and Terrace plays well, either reserve or if he's playing proactive, it's with the advantages Ririka creates. But if you let coin flip's bot lane get out of control, look, Mac is a god down there, but fucking Bori is him right now.
Yeah, this is very true.
Bori can carry a whole game. If that's the
Yeah,
one game coin flip wins in that series, I'm cool to call that. But Bori can like solo win a game.
yeah, especially as Kaisa from what I've seen versus Saburo and Hashira.
Yeah.
Well, there's your take. I'm gonna throw in Nexus's real quick. So he's gonna take 3-2 Jellyfish. He says going to be a bloody one, so could see it going either way. Higgins been very
God, five
solid lately.
games.
Think he'll be able to hold his own against Geoprow Warrior Bot. Still expecting that to be coin flip favored. Rest of the lanes are pretty even. I feel like these are all players that like to scrap, and the one significant edge I see in all that scrapping is through mid lane for Ririka. So that's his take here. As far as me, I feel like I have to stick to my rule, and this is specifically Bori on 80 carry. We know
Ah,
what Bori's done at 80 carry. Prove me wrong, Rika, which is fine. You know I'm not doing this because I think less of your team. This is more of a I'm ready. I want to see it happen first. So I'm gonna take coin flip in the 3-2. And it's this is the most 50-50 split series we've had in a long time. It's definitely 50-50. This is a true pick 'em out there, guys. So that's kind of my
guys.
take. And for everybody watching at home, I even threw Eureka's pick on the board. He doesn't have to say it out loud. It's not jinx team. But there it is. So you guys can see
Yo, can I
everybody's picks.
switch my prediction?
Yeah. Well, go ahead. What's your prediction?
I wanna say 3-2 us.
He just commits to it. Just commit to it. Yeah.
Oh,
We
no more
don't lose
five
game
game
five.
series.
No, we don't lose game 5.
We don't lose game
So
What
five.
is the
yeah.
what is the odds both these series go to game 5 and we have another 3-hour Midwest Weekly over 2 series? What the
No,
fuck?
well, here's the difference. It won't be 3 hours
Uh,
because we only have two series. All right. So we got through those
oh,
two
still fun.
series in like an hour and a half, two
Is that it?
hours.
Is that a challenge? I can find a way to talk this 3 hours.
Oh God, no, I don't want the challenge. Especially because I'll be out of town. Actually, we might have to do this like on a Tuesday, or you might have to do it on a Saturday with Dexys.
Uh,
So, or maybe Ririka just comes down
yeah.
and does it with you.
What the heck?
Rika,
Look,
sign
if
up.
if Ririka guests on it, I can definitely get minus. We'll be good. Oh man.
Well, we'll have to see if Minus wants to come out of the woodshed for this. It's been a
I'll
while.
drag his ass out.
Yeah, for real. He won't have watched anything, so he'll have nothing to talk about. He'll be like, well, I haven't seen nothing, but yeah, Rika ran it down here, so that'll be his take. Uh,
I fucking love that guy.
yeah,
Minus is a goat, yeah.
he's a cool guy.
For all the wrong reasons.
Indeed.
Wait, I have a random question, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
So you guys know Zahen will be out, I believe, next week.
Okay.
Is he gonna be allowed in Midwest
No.
No. He won't even make it in time.
throughout the playoffs, or just one patch?
We have like a 2 week rule, don't we? It's like a 2 week rule.
It's either 1 or 2 weeks, but if you're asking if he's going to be playable for like loser bracket finals or grand finals, I'm inclined to just say no.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't
please, 'cause-
need that wild card in there.
I'm pretty
Just
sure.
because
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
also-
I was gonna say.
He's a melee bruiser, which means Rurika's already practicing him on PBA,
No.
so no.
No,
No,
I think we've had enough of these like playoffs, kind of having too big of changes that kind of, I don't want to say it ruins the playoffs, but it makes it a lot different. I think it'd be better to just kind of leave it as is. You know, I mean, we can talk about the season change for the 2024 winter playoffs, right? We had a whole different season for the playoffs, and I think it
Yeah.
affected things a little bit. Not that it was a bad affecting of things, but it definitely the gameplay lacked a bit, right? So I'd rather definitely avoid that for playoffs. But if it was like the middle of a season and we were like week 2 and then we got to week 4 or 5, yeah, he'd be open to be playable at that point. So, but it's just
Yeah, there is a 1 week rule on new champions because Yanara came out in the middle of the rec league, and I honored that as well.
well, let's see.
So,
So it comes out next Wednesday on the patch. So he should be available for grand finals.
New champion will not be available first week, is what is in the rules. But
I was
it could
gonna
be.
say, like, it would suck if you're red side that you have to ban that champion.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm feeling we'll probably end up handshaking this because of the rule book.
yep.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yep,
double check with the
that's what-
teams because I'm not gonna go against the rule
Okay.
book. But I expect either team will just handshake the idea of like let's just not have them in this
Yeah.
rest of this split. There's no point. So because we'll be at grand finals when he's available. Do you really want to send him in grand finals? I guess you could.
No.
You know,
I mean,
Rika's already like maybe.
Of
who knows?
course.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll
And
just-
actually, they might even try to play grand finals in the same week as loser finals, just because it's Thanksgiving the following week.
Yeah,
So-
we're gonna try to push that. If it's coin flip that's
Yeah.
playing the first matchup, we already know it's gonna be a Wednesday anyway, so we could probably schedule a Wednesday and a
Yeah.
Sunday or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on for this little short part of the episode. You only got to be a part of like
Thank you
20
for having
minutes.
me.
Oh, of course, man. I thought it would be a cool little spicy thing. We don't have guests like we used to, and I think it's because me and CLT just wanna do the episode and knock it out. But I think next split we've already discussed about maybe start bringing guests back as like a normal thing. So we'll hopefully start having fun with it again. But maybe we'll get somebody on next week again. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
We'll pull Higgins out of
Wait,
the woodwork.
one more question. Sorry, before I go.
Yeah.
Who's casting our series this Wednesday?
Oh, come on.
I'm just wondering.
It might be
I
me.
will.
It might be War, and it might be CLT. It just depends. This will be one of us. Somebody will be available.
I
Okay,
will
gotcha.
reach out to see who wants to do it. Probably Tuesday. So
I'm not against doing it. I just kind of want to see what's going on because I just did this episode and like you got a slow turnover rate and it's like, do I really want to spend a whole nother night casting a 5-game series with only a little break in between?
Yep. I was gonna say 5 games.
Yeah.
So
I would love a world where we could get like 3 or 4 guys and rotate them in and out, or like, rotate them in for draft and then the other guys cast. But we just don't have the pool for that.
Yeah.
But for anybody that's made it this far in the episode and isn't sick and tired of me talking, if you're interested, let me know.
Yeah, we might have some stuff in the works. We'll see what's going on. Maybe have
Yeah.
some stuff we can offer to sweeten that deal in the future. But as of right now, all I have to offer is my beautiful voice. So I hope that's enough.
Oh, shit,
Yeah, and
mine's
for the
not
opening
beautiful. So
ceremony too, you're gonna sing, right?
Yes.
nope.
What am I singing?
I
CLT
don't know.
hasn't
Sacrifice?
sacrifice CLT. I don't think I've sent CLT anything, so I don't think he's ever heard me sing.
No, no, I want
Yeah,
to be surprised.
It's good. What do you
he
mean?
showed me CLT. It's actually he's legit.
I was flexing with the Ninja Turds, and Nexus actually said it was pretty goated, so I believe it.
Yeah. I'll have to send my video of me with me actually singing on it. It looks funny because I look back at that and cringe. So I got a couple out there inside a basement, locked away. So
Ooh,
tough
okay.
times in my life. But yeah,
Yeah.
all right. Let's end this damn episode, man.
Any more
Yeah,
questions, Rurika?
yeah. Any more questions for the fans here?
That's it. I gotta go back studying.
All
So,
right, all right. Have fun studying. Thank
all
you
right.
again.
See you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Peace.
All right, and for everyone else watching, Wednesday, catch the series. That's the Coin Flip Femboy series. Be
Let me
able to
pull up the
watch,
time.
but probably like
That is
6 o'clock.
at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. God, that's a late start too.
7:30.
Mother.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time casting it. I can't be in charge at least.
Oh my God.
So that'll be there. That'll happen, and then probably hopefully the weekend series. So other than that, thank you all again for coming out. And mind you, whoever loses the Instinct versus Hashira will be out. They will be eliminated because it is double elimination. And then the loser of Coin Flip versus Femboys will play them in the loser finals. Whoever wins the Instinct Hashira. So we are gearing up for the end of the split. It's been a fun one. We thank you all again, and we will see you soon. GG.